Hello and welcome to the Funfiltered podcast. We are back. It is the new year. New year, new equipment.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New decade. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We haven't seen you in the new
decade.
decade.
Yeah, Happy New Decade.
Please acknowledge. I've said it like 3 times now. Please acknowledge
Happy
that it's a new
decade, yeah.
decade.
Happy New Decade,
There you
everybody.
go.
We haven't seen you in the new year, have we?
No. As always, it's me joined by Sam
Hello.
and Jordan.
Hello.
If you hadn't guessed by this point.
Yeah, I forgot about that bit.
I haven't seen you since before Christmas.
No. How was Christmas?
Do you know what? Actually, it wasn't bad.
Okay.
It really wasn't. I had quite a nice time with my mum. We were in a cottage in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And it was actually quite nice.
Oh, is this, what's it? It starts with a G.
Charleston.
Jalston. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah, okay.
somewhere in South Wales. I
Okay.
didn't know how to pronounce.
Okay. You told us you'd been kidnapped by Father Christmas.
I
Do
did.
you want to explain that?
You lied to us.
Because I had no context for this.
I don't really know. It was just what I said, wasn't it?
Okay.
I didn't really have a thing. I was just, yeah.
Okay.
It'd be funny if I said this.
Oh, well, I'm glad you were lying, Eddie.
Yes,
It
no.
makes the adventure so much better.
Father Christmas did not kidnap me.
We are recording on new equipment.
Yes, we are.
Much upgraded. Well, say upgraded equipment. We recorded on a phone before. And
Anything would be an upgrade.
Anything would be an
really, wouldn't
upgrade.
Now we have actual microphones.
We've got things that kind of connect to the end of tables.
Yes.
And if that's not a sign of 2020, I don't know what is. Yeah, spit shields.
Saw you Christmas. How was your decade, lads?
How was the decade?
How was the decade for you? Granted, we have like one other decade to compare it to,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, I met
One
you.
of the full decade.
I met
should
you
say.
guys.
Yeah?
Yeah, we met. That was a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
Did that uni
that
thing.
was it.
Went to university.
Yeah.
Stopped going to university.
Got a job.
Got a job very briefly.
Did grown-up things for like 5 minutes.
Speak for yourself. I don't know really. Not much. Had sex.
Yeah. Yeah, I had sex.
That was for the first time that happened.
Okay.
New decade resolution.
New decade resolution.
Decade resolution. I like
Okay.
it.
That's my decade in review.
I'll say, yeah, my decade in review is uni, sex, drinking,
Podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, at the very end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in your house.
We're in my house for once.
I don't know if the acoustics or well, it's going to sound better, whatever the case, isn't it? But
I hope so.
yeah,
Considering we've got,
We've done this
complicated
upgrade, we
setup.
listen back and it's like, only had that phone.
yeah. We put our phones on silent. We've deactivated the
Oh,
clock.
shit.
No, we haven't.
we haven't.
We've deactivated the clock, we have not
You
put our
amateur.
phones on silent.
Right. Well, I can't actually see my phone.
Well, usually-
so-
Is that not your phone?
Usually my phone
Yes.
is what
Yes,
we're
it is my
recording
phone.
on, so that's why I didn't
Oh,
think
God, I'm
about it.
connected to the internet and everything.
Oh,
Facebook could have gone off. Oh, no.
George, what are you doing?
It's fine. Well, vibrate, but no one calls me.
No.
So tempted to call them.
So yeah, now we've made quite a big leap forward technologically. You have to forgive us any deficit on our end in terms of lip smacking or breathing heavily down the mic or general environmental sounds.
I see what you did there, Eddie.
So the gimmick. It's not a gimmick, is it?
No.
We're doing our. What do you want to introduce the concept?
So we're going through our top 10s of the 2010s in terms of cinema.
Yes, top 10 films of the 2010s. Yeah, so we all, I think it was December 1st our deadline.
Yes, December 1st was the deadline we set ourselves.
Yeah.
To come up with a list, and then we put those in our group chat. Some of us didn't stick to said deadline, did we, Samuel?
What do you mean I did? Oh no, okay, I changed one last
No, he was
minute.
having a go, Sam. That's fine.
Alright, okay, I was going to say, we'll move on to the real...
Yeah, I would say, yes, we'll move on to Jordan in a minute, but you did change your film at the last minute.
I did last minute, yeah.
Which, to be fair, I will say it's fair enough, because...
Yeah, but also a film that I hadn't seen. So it was a new film.
Yes.
You know?
And to be fair, I very much nearly did the same.
Okay, so... Yeah, we basically had 30 films to watch. To make notes on, or rewatch, principally, to refresh our minds on them.
How did you get on with the 30, Jord?
I don't know how many I watched. It certainly wasn't 30. But in my defense, I was...
Watch your own list, did you?
No, I didn't. But in my defense, I was, busy editing this podcast.
Mate,
And,
you had
and other
you had a full
third-party
couple
commitments.
Of weeks. You had full couple of weeks to catch up on all the
I had
films.
some chocolate to get through, alright? I was busy. I had much to get through.
Have you not made a New Year's resolution about chocolate? That's like the go-to New Year's resolution.
Oh, should I?
Yeah.
Okay.
My New Year's resolution's drinking.
Do more.
Do more of it, yeah.
No, I'm doing it challenge with my mother.
Alright.
In that we've got to do 20 out of 20 weeks sober. And the
Okay.
goal is that we're both doing it at the start of the year.
Oh, so you have to go 24 weeks.
20,
But not
yeah.
consecutively, though.
It doesn't have to be consecutively, but my mother's got a walk later in the year that she's doing.
Right.
So for her,
Okay.
20 weeks works out for when the walk is. So we're both trying to do it consecutively.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Working in a pub. Probably not the best place to
Yeah, I'm working
try
on
and be
that.
sober.
I don't know, isn't it like the whole thing about working in a chocolate factory? Like you wouldn't want to eat the chocolate? after
No,
some
working in
amount
a
of
pub
time?
makes you an alcoholic.
It does make you.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So yeah, we had to watch 30 films. You didn't watch any, really? Including
No,
your
I
own list?
watched some.
Okay.
I watched the ones that I needed to watch,
Okay.
I think.
So you watched the ones you hadn't seen, basically.
Yes. Well, I'm sure our discussion will reflect which ones I haven't seen.
Yes.
Yes.
So Eddie and I actually did watch
Yes.
everyone's films.
Yes, the only film I wouldn't have watched, and I'm only going to bring it up as point of, it was a film that was on Jordan's list, which isn't on Jordan's list,
No.
which is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Through sheer... I wasn't for lack of trying, but sheer boredom as soon as I switched on the film.
It's a shame you took it off your list, really.
You were ready to you were all
Pleased to
fired up.
slam it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
It's- yeah,
think
it's
there's
strange that
fundamentally
happens, thinking about it.
wrong with the film.
Mm.
But my God, I was bored.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. You know?
Yeah.
It's one of the top 10 of that year, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's sort of why it ended up on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are many other good films as well.
Some of which we're about to get into.
Oh yeah, should we say spoilers for all of these films?
Yeah, spoilers for every film
Okay.
discussed.
Use the timestamps if you're curious as to what the films are. But yeah, in terms of discussion, we're probably going to be spoiling without warning.
We probably shouldn't be timestamping the films, should we?
Well, I won't say what the films are.
Okay.
But yeah.
Right. Top 10 of the 10s.
Okay.
Music. Cue music. There's going to be some music now.
The music's just happened.
The music's just happened. Okay, so, Mr. Boiler.
Yes.
Would you like to kick off with your number 10?
Okay. So my number 10
Yeah.
is Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Okay.
Shit.
That that was the last film I watched today, that was.
Yeah.
That's the final film. Yeah. Do you want to give a plot synopsis?
Okay, so
quickly?
Birdman is about a sort of aging actor, Regan Thompson, who is trying to establish himself as more of a serious theatre actor.
Yeah.
So he puts on a play of, is it Carver, isn't it?
Yeah, Raymond Carver adaptation.
On Broadway, to try and escape the fact that he was a superhero in films, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's all you really need to know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one shot, like how they filmed. It's kind of like a one shot attempt. I don't know. I was brought up on theatre a lot, so for me, I think that's where the interest came from. I think, I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to talk about this because it's gone down my list.
Okay.
This is the one film that's gone down my list consistently.
Okay.
Since we started doing this.
Why has it gone down in your estimation?
It's the film where the more I've rewatched it, the less I've cared.
Okay, so yeah, I watched it today. Like I said, it was the last one. I mean, it's technically very impressive.
Yes.
But I sort of, for the first time, I had the thought that it's kind of The Revenant, for example, which is what the director did after Birdman.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of shallow film, right?
Birdman.
No, The Revenant.
Oh, The Revenant, okay.
So it's very technically impressive, like Birdman.
Yeah.
But there's actually not much going on with The Revenant. It's a very, very basic story.
Yeah.
When they even bother telling the story.
Right.
It's a lot of just existing in the environment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Birdman is significantly better than The Revenant.
Yes, it is.
Even if it abides the same sort of stylish thing. But today I thought, this is actually a quite a shallow film. Not shallow, but considering what it's about, it doesn't really go deep.
No. So I think, for me, part of it is it feels quite human.
Right.
It's
ironic for a Birdman.
No, but it just, I don't know. There's just something for me. There was always something about it.
Right. Is it partly well, that's Jordan.
Oh, right. I'll turn the volume off. I didn't even think of that. Apologies.
Is it partly the kind of, because it's the world of theatre, so the intricacies of like behind the scenes and because of that shade, it's
seeing what it's like, as I say, getting to see the characters, what the journey he goes through, where he goes through that, and how do you get a good review in Hollywood? Shoot your own face off.
Yeah, it does have kind of elements of satire to it. The fact that he actually ends up, shooting himself in the head, and that's reviewed as something like there's a film critic in the film that kind of embodies.
Yeah, she calls it hyper-realism.
Yeah, she embodies like the snottiness of the Broadway kind of critical elite.
Yes, and has a dim view of any Hollywood actor trying to take over Broadway. Yeah,
and at the very end when he actually shoots himself in the head, she writes it off as kind of it's a new form of a new expression of theatre. It's hyper-realism, injecting new energy that's been missing from from American theatre for decades, or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's like that's clearly a satire.
Yeah,
on what's expected of these things. But I'm not that acquainted with theatre. You're much more a theatre guy than I. So I don't really know about the internal politics. Is it kind of frowned upon when film actors do plays,
Whether it's frowned upon, I don't know if it's the right word. But someone will always turn their nose up when, obviously over here it's the West End rather than Broadway, but it's like, that person's doing this, or,
Is it kind of like considered like stunt casting almost? Like it's cheap to you're bringing in a film actor so people will go to see it.
Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe doing Equus is a prime example.
And of course you went full frontal in that.
Yes.
Because there's a line in Peep Show where they're going to go to the theatre, and both are very resistant to the idea. And Jeremy says to Mark something like, it's okay, they've got people off the telly in theatre now, it's good. Is it that kind of idea that it's sort of like the cheap form of theatre, whereas you should be going more towards the Mark Rylance's
or is it seen as like a selfish maneuver? It's like, you want to try and make it in our world now, is it? You want to try and like, I've done film, theatre is seen as like better than film or above film, so like, you want to elevate yourself,
legitimize yourself,
and you want to use us to do that.
I mean, I can't speak for how it is in America, because obviously over here theatre is more where you build yourself up before you take the leap to so
isn't there like an understanding that American, like British actors, because they're trained in theatre, they can usually get it in fewer takes than Americans who are trained on television, so they're used to like stopping and starting.
I think that's less and less the case,
but I remember that being something
definitely. I think a lot more American actors do theatre now, but yes,
I mean, as it's certainly changed in more, like there are film stars now doing TV series all the time, which you wouldn't have necessarily.
No, even, well, maybe not 10, but definitely 20 years ago, the idea of a film actor going to television was a step down for your career. Yeah.
Whereas,
now every actor wants to do television.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, like, True Detective's like a prime example. I will butcher his name, but Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
He's season 3 of True Detective doing that just off the back of an Oscar.
Yeah, he won an Oscar.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And he won another one when it was on TV.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, what do you think about Birdman?
Well, you said Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone. You were talking earlier about like how Birdman seems quite shallow. It doesn't really go into things, even though it kind of gives the impression of it. But it's a film I think you definitely sell on its style, isn't it? You don't sell people on the plot. You sell them on the fact that the film pretends to be filmed in one take, and it's definitely pretend because there are clear moments in the film where, well, I mean, you can see the seams of it sometimes. There's like a shot. I say a shot. It's like a moment very early in the film where the camera kind of pans across a mirror, and you see the moment where they've kind of rotoscoped the image onto the mirror, and all the depth is kind of lost from the reflection. Yeah. But there's also moments where time has clearly been crushed, where I think he's like in a room talking to his lawyer, and then all of a sudden he's like doing an interview regarding the play, and like maybe even a few hours have passed or something like that. But yeah, I would say that it's a film you sell to people on the gimmick as opposed to the story. Yeah.
It depends on strata of the audience. I mean, like, things like that really don't appeal to me. Like, that would be
no, but you're you.
No, you know? But I mean, there's mature audiences. don't care that, it's one shot, again, things like, it's the same with any film, that most films that do that, like Gravity, or things like Lord of the Rings, where you kind of go, well done.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends, doesn't it, on how motivated, I suppose, the gimmick is. I think you pointed out to me after we saw the film for the first time in the cinema. Did you go with us to see it, Eddie, or no?
No.
Okay. Presumably you saw it in the cinema.
Yes.
This is not important to my point, I'm just asking.
Yes, I went to see it.
Yeah, you theorised that the reason they do the one-take thing is to kind of show like how constant preparation in theatre is, and just the sheer momentum of things. There's a moment that kind of solidifies it, and that's, I think it's after the opening night performance. The performance happens, and then the camera sort of goes down into the theatre, and it sort of holds on this empty corridor for what feels like a minute almost, maybe even longer, maybe shorter, I don't know. But nothing happens. There's no sound. You can kind of hear people off in the background, but nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden the characters burst into the corridor and the film carries on.
Yeah, the film is relentless. Yeah. Like, that's pretty much your one moment of respite.
There's like constant drums as well all the way through the film.
Constant drums.
Which was a conscious choice. They went
and like the drummer even occasionally appears in the film, doesn't it? Like on the side of the street or whatever. Yeah, it's a very breathless film. It's like you kind of you don't get to relax really.
Yeah, when a character's scene is done, they kind of walk off as another character enters the frame, and you're like, we're with this character.
It's quite
now.
West Wingy almost in that sense.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, and I will say it's the one thing I can think of, with the exception of some TV episodes, where the one-shot gimmick, it's not repellent.
No,
to me.
Yeah,
I tend not to like those sorts of things because it does feel like look what I did. Look how long my shot is.
And it is showing off. Obviously, it's showing off, but it also kind of justifies itself.
It's at the service of something.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wonder how many actual continual takes are real continual takes.
Not many, I don't think. There's one film, I can't remember the name of it, I think it's a French film, where it is genuinely one take, but it's basically just a person walking around an art gallery for an hour and a half.
Okay, there's another...
So it's not as impressive as, they're going through this theatre and they're outside in Times Square and they're back in and all that
There's
stuff.
a South American film, I think, that it's like a kidnapping drama. That's legitimately one take.
Oh, no, there was, what was it called?
It's a woman's name, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Not Victoria.
No, I think it is Victoria.
It is Victoria.
I think so,
okay. Yeah. So but usually it's you can, if you look closely, you can tell.
Yeah.
At the moment, like when they went through that door.
Yeah.
That was the cut.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I bought it when I first saw it. Now, kind of like I rewatched a little bit of it. I didn't rewatch the whole thing, but there's certainly, you can tell where the cuts are. I mean, basically anytime no one's in the frame, which is quite a lot actually, surprisingly.
But it's not like at the same time. Yes, it's showing off, but I don't feel duped when I notice a cut. It's like, yes, fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, I don't expect them. Well, I know they wouldn't have done it all in one.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there was no way that was
like the mirror, there's no way you can cheat a mirror shot like that. You have to rotoscope a reflection in,
Yeah.
But other than that, it's interesting in a sort of decade where superhero films have come to prominence as much as they have. This is a retired superhero actor.
Well, it's almost
which kind of haunts him.
Yeah, it's almost because Michael Keaton, I was going to say Michael Sheen. It's not Michael Sheen. Michael Keaton plays Birdman, the titular Birdman.
Yeah.
And he played Batman, didn't he? So there's a little bit of like real life seeping in there.
Yeah, goes on to play. Is it Vulture in Spider-Man?
Yes. Which
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that was
then
like
played Birdman, then played Vulture.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years later.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure there were jokes about it at the time.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good in it. Emma Stone is really good in it. Edward Norton is really. It's a great cast. It's a great ensemble.
It's given. So anyone who has heard me slag off Zach Galifianakis on the podcast before, this is like the one film I will genuinely
even
watch
that
him in.
cunt is bearable.
Yeah. So
yeah, it is his best performance, I think. Probably.
Yeah. There's a couple of moments. It's not just him, but I think he's the first person to do it, where he kind of fumbles his lines.
Yeah.
Do you think that was an intentional choice?
No.
Okay. All right.
I think they kept it in to maintain the illusion.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see them doing that.
Yeah, I would say the last thing I'll add is the final shot of the film.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's in the hospital. He opens the window. Emma Stone comes back in.
Yeah.
And is he up flying in the sky? Is he down in the street?
I don't think you see, do you?
No, you don't.
No,
It's left ambiguous intentionally.
Yeah, the film peppers it. The film peppers ambiguity as to whether he genuinely has superpowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or whether it's just a weird blend of fantasy and reality.
Mm.
But the ending, I would say, surely is to suggest that it is indeed real.
Yes.
Because she just looks up, doesn't she, and she smiles.
Yeah.
So, unless that itself is an illusion, then I would say
or it's
that
really
the ending,
dark, because obviously Emma Stone plays his daughter, and they don't get on during the film.
No,
so maybe it's just like, oh, thank God he's gone. I don't know whether it's
and smiles. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I would say that the filmmaker's intention was at the end, oh, it is real.
Yeah, I got that impression, definitely.
Even if it's only been fantasy up to this point, it's now become manifest. But it's a metaphor, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. whether it's real or not, it's real in the film. It's true in the film.
Yeah.
What happens?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to be like, do you recommend Birdman? Of course, you recommend Birdman. It's the 10th best film of the decade for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So my turn now.
It's your turn.
Okay.
Indeed.
So my 10th film of the decade is The Raid.
Okay.
The Raid is an Indonesian film created by a Welsh writer-director who is not only a fellow countryman of me and Sam, and I guess you at this point, because we've lived here long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually attended the same university that we all attended.
He did.
Not only that, he actually was taught by the same lecturers that Sam and Eddie were taught by.
Fuck
he was. And even they say...
Yes.
Terrible writer.
Well, I brought that up first because as I explain the plot, I fear audiences who are not familiar with The Raid might fall asleep. So I'm just getting it out there. Okay. The writing is not, in a way like Birdman, the writing is not why this film is worth watching. The story is a police, he's like part of like a strike team or something. He's
like SWAT.
Yeah, he's like a SWAT officer. Goes to this skyscraper where this drug kingpin is residing, and they go in with the intention of arresting him, and he basically, the drug kingpin locks down the building and says like, right, anyone who like kills these officers, is this not the film?
No, just Pinkin.
I just kept
thinking Pinkin.
It was how you,
that's because of where it's set as well.
Yes, and also the fact that it was also the fact that he finally got Kingpin out, but it was Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Yeah, no, you were doing a stellar job.
Okay, all right, yeah. So he locks down the building, and actually, yeah, if people have seen Dredd, it's kind of similar, where like the person in control of the building locks the building down and says, right, bring me, like, kill these people, basically, and you will be rewarded.
Yeah, it's a very simple plot, isn't it?
It's a very simple plot. Yeah, it's basically
video gamey almost.
Yeah,
like
it's
survival.
These people are trapped in a building and they need to reach the boss and defeat the boss in order to escape the building. And that's basically the film.
Very quickly, one thing that would support that, there is that one shot where Rama, is that his name?
Rama.
When he's in the corridor with the baseball bat crew, I think.
Yeah.
And there's that shot that's very clearly like a video game, like a third-person video game.
Oh, you mean the moment where like the camera's transitioning from cutscene to gameplay, where it's sort of like holding as the character.
Yeah, it goes behind him as he charges them, and that always felt very.
Do you think it's an intentional choice then? Because it's obviously very inspired by kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I think even the lecturer said that was a huge inspiration. I should actually have looked this up before. Are you on
the martial art?
It's Piazzi, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will look it up.
I would say just make sure we get the right kind of martial art.
Yes.
It is taking a long time to load.
That's a different cover. I didn't see that cover before.
What cover?
The cover, the poster.
Oh yeah, it's called either Penchak or Penkak or Pensak Silat.
Ah, okay.
Pensak Silat.
That is the reason The Raid is worth watching. It's not for the writing.
No,
it's not for.
Have you said it's an Indonesian film?
I said it's Indonesian.
Okay,
yes, Indonesian Welsh director.
Yeah,
but the film is in Indonesian. It's a foreign language film.
Mm-hmm.
Not there is an English dub. I don't think you need to seek out the English dub.
No.
One, because the writing is not worth experiencing, and two, because the real dialogue of the film is just
yes,
all that stuff.
Yeah, they keep sending off firecrackers, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it's my favourite scene in the film is when they all just stand in a room. They just start firecrackers.
Yeah. Why is it in your top 10?
Oh, the action. Absolutely the action. I think it's I mean, kung fu movies I'm not too familiar with. This director obviously is, and I assume a lot of inspiration was taken from kung fu movies. But I think this specific style of martial art hasn't really been put to camera before.
No.
Certainly not at this level.
Yeah.
And it's a very... People think of martial arts, they think of like karate, which is very defensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like they think it was the Karate Kid that said you only use it as a defense, you never attack. Whereas this is very attack orientated and very violent. This is a very gory movie at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
The action is just like it is. Yeah. No, the action is just incredibly well done, and it's exhilarating and genuinely like you know.
It offers B-movie thrills, doesn't it?
Yes,
in a sense of you're in it just for good kills.
Yes,
basically.
And there are many good kills.
It
definitely fills its good kills quota.
Yeah. So I saw this film, I think, back when I was reading Empire magazine. I saw a film called The Raid had been given 5 stars.
Oh yeah, do you want me to credit you with putting me onto this?
No.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
Thank you. And I just saw a foreign action film be given 5 stars. I was like, well, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
And of course it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I found myself at the time, when I was watching it, when I became more acquainted with the choreography of the fights, I would find myself standing in front of the TV, kind of like enacting the fights, kind of like almost subconsciously.
Oh bloody, that's impressive! If you were able to pull off both the moves they're pulling off,
I think if I was
He's
doing
been holding back on us this entire
I think at the very least I would be conscious if I was doing that. You know what I mean, like sort of watching and kind of moving with them. You know, kind of like a mirror almost sort of thing. But yeah, so I rewatched it for this. I always knew the writing was bad.
Yes.
But God, it's bad.
Yes,
the dialogue is terrible.
Yeah, and the story as well. It's very like if you've watched films, you could probably guess. Like they try and do like a twist as to like the identity of somebody in the building. You're going to figure it out
instantly.
Pretty much straight away. His brother is like one of the bad
main
guys.
Character's brother.
Yeah, the main character's brother, and you're like, well, okay, yeah, of course.
Given that one of the opening lines is, I'll bring him back or whatever.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I wonder, he must know someone here.
Yeah.
Oh, look, you've got a brother. Well, that's fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing about it, I would say, is Mad Dog.
Who is the, I guess, what would you call that type of person? Because he's not the main bad guy, but he's sort of like the main fight almost of the film.
Yeah, that is kind of
that's the one that the brothers take down together, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of a trope in action.
This is what
films.
I do.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that.
Does
he
he not
never
do that?
does that, but we've put that onto it
Why
after
have you
the
done
fact.
that?
Okay, I'll explain that in a sec.
Now,
So there's a trope in action films, isn't there, that you've got like the main bad guy who's like the bureaucratic one, who's kind of running everything from behind a desk.
Yeah.
Hans Gruber and Die Hard, you know, in all of its clones, there's always the villain that is like the brains, I suppose, and then you've got the main thug.
Yeah. Who's the main like physical threat? Yeah,
who the villain, the hero will fight just before they storm into the room and just shoot the guy behind the desk.
Yes, yeah.
There'll always be a fight. Mad Dog is that of this film.
Yeah. And he's actually the choreographer, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Yayan Ruyan, I think is his name.
Okay.
Yayan, which is Welsh.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird.
He's not a Welsh man.
He's definitely not Welsh.
Well, he's not.
There's a moment in the film where he and the SWAT commander, who is Rama's superior, have a fight. And in that scene, it's like the typical badass thing. He puts down his gun. He's like, "No, we're gonna have this mano a mano.
Yeah.
We're gonna fist fight it." That's a trope of the genre.
Yeah.
But there's a moment where he's holding up his hands and he says, "This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is where the energy flows." And I made a joke at the time where he kind of goes with his hands. "This is what I do," right? And that is just canon now to us.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that at all.
No. Well, I
he
did it.
He definitely doesn't. I watched it this morning.
That's the thing.
Oh,
I just did it on the podcast. And I was going to be like, and that's an example of the terrible writing. So you're in that.
Yeah. One of my problems with the film is that the main villain, as in the actual head,
I don't remember him at all.
No. The film really tries to make you think he's like a cool badass villain. And I hate that. I hate when I see that a film is trying to make me think or feel something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's trying too hard. There's a scene in the beginning of the film where he's just summarily executing traitors, just people in the building that have angered him.
Yes.
Because essentially it's a skyrise full of criminals, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Where they get to kind of stay and pay him rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's just shooting them all in the back of the head as they crouch down in front of him.
Yeah.
And then he runs out of bullets, and he walks over to his desk, and he pulls out a drawer, and you see a bundle of bullets and a hammer, and that's it. That's all in the drawer. And he picks up the hammer, and he kind of looks almost at the camera and goes, "Now, where were we?"
Right.
And then walks slowly back over to the guy on the floor, swings, we cat, and it's like, stop making me think, like, ooh, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Stop trying so hard. You don't have to do that,
Yeah.
I knew he was the bad guy in the first place.
Yeah, And Mad Dog, considering that he is really the badass villain of the film,
Yeah.
it's surprising that they don't try hard to make you...
No, because he doesn't...
Yeah.
Not slagging off the guy who plays him or anything, but he doesn't look like a badass, does he?
No,
he's got like this.
He's a little mousy, wiry guy.
He's like this tiny guy. He's got like this long ponytail, and he doesn't look like, he's not like buff. He's not like cool.
No.
Imposing villain.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite. He's quite a small figure.
But to quote, I think it's the commander, when he's given them like the brief in the beginning, like, right, this is the main bad guy.
Yeah.
This is the brains of the operation, and this is the badass of the operation.
Okay.
And they call him a maniac of feet and fists.
Right.
Kind of sums him up, really.
Yeah. Okay.
I respect that.
But that is a rare example of half decent.
Yes.
Because the film is dreadful. The writing is fucking atrocious.
Yeah. No, I can't defend it on that front. But as I said, that's not what you watch.
You don't watch it for that at all.
No.
No, you watch it for childish thrills, I think. I don't say childish in a demeaning way.
No.
No, but
I mean, that's what you're in it for. You're in for the puerile, like that boyish thing of like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it gets the adrenaline pumping.
It does, and it's by the end because it builds an intensity constantly throughout the film, and by the end, that final fight with Mad Dog and the two brothers. Yeah. I feel like anyway that you're genuinely like, I want this guy to die.
I think that the music does a lot of that work because, as we've said, the writing is not good.
No.
And there is something just kind of like almost in the DNA of action movies that they are cathartic without you having to invest anything in them.
Yes.
That's sort of part of their appeal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the music by Mike Shinoda.
I would say, have you listened to the version of the film which doesn't have that score in though?
No.
So the actual obviously Indonesian film doesn't have that score. That's for American and UK
international release. Yeah.
What's the original score like?
That's why I didn't know if you'd seen it or not.
Okay.
I don't know what it's like.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The score, the song which has got Chino from Deftones in. That all works.
Wonders in
Raises Out.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah,
just in its own right.
The score elevates it, with that final fight with Mad Dog, which probably would have been cathartic anyway.
Yeah,
but just the it's ratcheting up the tension bit by bit, and like this guy has to die.
Yeah,
please.
But just to give an example of the sort of the fun, the childish fun that you're in for, there's like a scene set in a corridor where our main character Rama pushes a guy through a door, and then he grabs another guy, sort of jumps up in the air and impales him neck first on the debris that's left behind by the door.
Yeah.
That's the sort of like level we're at when we're talking about the raid.
Innovative kills.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're very like that's what I like about the film as well, is that it's not lazy with the way ways it kills people.
Yeah.
You know?
We were talking about this. I wonder whether the fight scene, how scripted the fight scenes were.
Yeah.
Or whether it was there's a fight now and then they
You
just
mean in the actual script when
he
just wrote
script,
there is fight
and
then plot happens.
Yeah.
I mean, based on the rest of the script, it could just say there is fight.
Yes.
Yeah, there is fight now. He should stick to just directing. I think. I don't think he should be writing scripts.
Well, I haven't seen what's the film he did most recently. Is it Apostle?
Apostle, yeah.
I haven't seen that. Did he write that, or did he? Only
Yeah, he did. It's much better written than The Raid.
Yeah,
but it's
because that is not an action film. That is a horror film.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It's sort of taking its cue from like the Wicker Man. It's that sort
right.
of thing.
Okay.
It's very derivative, but yeah, the dialogue is better because you can afford to do that kind of. It's all Bible talk and you know.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds dull to me.
Oh no, yeah, like that proper preacher like. Salutations, like all those sorts of words.
Yeah.
That can allow you to sort of be very colourful, but it's not very good.
Okay.
Shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the corrupt cop. Well, it's the old white guy.
Yeah.
What a shock that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite funny. There's a fight.
The only white guy in the film?
He's not white.
Well, the only the closest to a white guy, but he's he stands out from the rest. Of
he does stand out because he
yeah.
has white hair.
Yeah.
There's a fight scene in like
oh yeah
the drug manufacturing room.
Yeah.
And like Rama's being being Rama.
Yeah.
Just not kung fu, whatever.
Just flipping and
kicking
and grappling,
a fiend fest. Yeah. And the camera like flips over to him, and he's just like he's grappled onto a guy, and he's just like banging his back.
Just without any grace whatsoever.
Yeah. So he was an actor. He was someone that they hired to act. Wait, no, like it would have been, wouldn't it? You don't hire that guy for his.
No, you don't.
It's all yes. The people they hired to act, like the main villain and him. They're the worst parts of the film. The non-actors end up being the best.
Yeah.
Because Ika Uwais said, I don't think he'd acted. I think he's in Maranta, which is Gareth Evans' first film.
Yes.
But he was a postman, and then he just did The Raid.
Right.
He's like pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's not bad. Well, I suppose you need to look to The Raid 2 to see whether he's actually a good actor or not.
Yeah.
Don't you? Which I do want to touch on briefly, if
Yeah.
you have more to say about the first one or not.
I have a few more points.
Okay.
I've got here that it's reassuring in the sense of exactly what one expects to happen does.
Okay.
So it's kind of got that sort of a childlike fairy tale quality of, it's going to be happily ever after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much there are no surprises in The Raid.
No.
There are moments where it wants to be a surprise.
Yes.
But it never is.
No, it's not.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
No, but it's like a prime example is he's stabbing through the wall. You know that they're not going to kill Rama.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we'll injure him.
Yeah.
But we're not going to kill him because. No.
When they do that, they put the machete through the wall and it kind of slices across his face.
Yeah.
And then he kind of puts his glove over it so that when they withdraw it, it kind of wipes the blood off.
Yeah.
I call bullshit on that.
Okay.
Because the blade is completely clean. If you just did that,
yeah,
and a machete, it would just smear it. It wouldn't wipe it off.
Or would it? It would slice through his glove as well, wouldn't it?
It's like, just
yeah, exactly.
Mistake.
You'd at least have
really
fabric wrapped around the machete or something. Yeah.
I know it's strange credulity, but it has to have some internal logic.
No, of course, yeah, because it's not a all of this impressive shit they're doing. It's not supposed to be like an elevated.
No,
this is like very real. This is happening.
Yeah.
They are actually performing these like feats.
Yeah, it's not a superhero. So like when there's a moment where he tackles a guy out of a window and they fall like 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he lands on the guy on a balcony, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes back in, and there's like a few minutes where he's just wandering, dazed,
kind of recovering from it.
So there is like a natural reality to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And my final little critique is in that final fight, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They cut away to advance the plot elsewhere.
Yes.
And they shouldn't do that.
No. I
think should have played out as one.
In a film like this, it's a con. Unless you're cutting between fights, that is a cardinal sin, I think, cutting away from
Yes.
the fight scene. But the reason I wanted to bring up the Raid 2 is because I think another thing that works for the Raid, we complained about the writing and the characterization and the plotting and all that kind of stuff. That stuff isn't really a big feature of the Raid, I would say.
No.
It's sort of like the brief moments in between the action as opposed to the other way around. The Raid 2, not the case.
No.
They try to do like a gangster style film where like
Godfather.
Godfather, where Rama is sort of like befriends a criminal. I don't know what he is. He's not a crime boss, is he?
He's the son of a crime boss.
He's the son of a crime boss.
Yeah.
Son of a crime boss.
Yeah.
He befriends him in prison, and then he gets out, and it's the typical like up and coming through the ranks story.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I didn't know initially whether the Raid or the Raid 2 was going to appear on my top 10. You were very vocal about it not being the Raid 2.
Yeah.
Because the problems we have with the story and the writing of the Raid 1 still stand in the Raid 2.
Magnified
Magnified by the fact that this is trying to have a plot, and it's trying to characterize him, and it's trying to like. But
it's long.
And it is long. It's a longer film. The Raid is like an hour and a half or something.
If that, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Raid 2 is a couple of hours. But as we've discussed through this, you go to the Raid for its fight sequences. I think there are better fight sequences in the second film than there are in the first.
See, this is the thing. I do disagree.
Okay.
Partly because there's so much in between them, it detracts from. I care less when they happen in the Raid 2.
Okay.
Whereas with the Raid, it's such a ratcheting up that by the time it comes. Like, I think the fight with Mad Dog is the apex of both films. It doesn't get better than the fight with Mad Dog.
Well, it only has one fight scene as competition.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, but I think so maybe the choreography of the latter fight scene surpasses the first one.
Yeah.
In ways, but the fact that you really want Mad Dog to like die, you hate that character.
Yes.
You know, you don't feel that way about the guy in the second one because he is just like another one. Really, he's not particularly...
of the three generals, I guess he's definitely the one they focused on the least, which is odd considering. I don't know whether the fight scene was supposed. It's the kitchen fight scene, if people know what we're on about. I don't know whether that was to compensate for the fact that he has the least to do, because the other two generals are the girl with hammers and the guy with the baseball bat and the ball. And because they're brother and sister, I think they spend a lot of time together, so you kind of get to know them a little bit. As much as you can, considering those characters never really talk. But I think the other thing that the Raid 2 does is it treats it more like I don't know how to describe it. Like the first Raid, they're just sort of people in the apartment building, and they themselves are not characters. It's just sort of like, you know, oh, these people are on this floor and they have machetes. Oh, these people are on this floor and they fight with their fists. Oh, they use kitchen utensils, whatever. Whereas in the Raid 2, there are like set characters almost. This girl fights with hammers. This guy fights with a bat. This guy fights with those like weird blades. I don't think in the
first Raid you really needed anything more though. You knew it was a bad building. You knew it was full of people.
Yeah.
He had the control over all of them.
Yes.
You didn't really need...
I think the Raid 2 is trying to be quite comic booky.
I would definitely say that. I heard someone describe it as an anime. I kind of get that impression.
Yeah, so definitely. You come up with those characters who kind of are characters because of what they wear.
Yeah, their aesthetic is the character.
Yeah.
But I do think that, I think that there are... I would say that like the worst fight scenes in the Raid 2 are worse than the worst fight scenes in the first Raid.
Right.
But, I mean, you've got that fight scene in the kitchen, which is great. You've got the car chase sequence, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I personally love the prison sequence where they're fighting in the mud. I think that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I just think there's so many good fight sequences from the Raid 2.
Okay.
I suppose I ultimately went with the Raid 1 because, yes, you need to look at them as a film.
Yeah.
And I would sooner watch a compilation of the Raid 2's fight sequences than watch the Raid 2 in its entirety.
Yes, because if you have to put up with a lot between those fight scenes.
Yeah, and that's the problem is, as you say, the Raid is a constant ratcheting of tension, whereas the Raid 2, there are like breaks in between the action where like, okay, now the plot and the characters are happening.
Yeah, it's like if you go into a horror film and like, you know, you want to be terrified.
Yeah.
The general format, isn't it, is that you get a jump and then you get some time where you're kind of relaxing and they're filling in the plot and then there's another jump. And you put up with that because you can't just have jump.
No, yeah.
In the Raid, you're in it for the action.
Yeah.
And so the stuff that bridges those action scenes need to be as quick and as expedient as possible.
Yes.
Whereas in the Raid 2, like I said, it's trying to do a bit of a Godfather.
Yeah.
And tell an epic crime story, Indonesian crime story. But that requires dialogue, unfortunately.
It does.
And Gareth Evans shouldn't be doing dialogue. Really. Should be just directing it.
Yeah. It also, we're just slagging off the Raid 2 now, but it also...
No, we're just slagging off Gareth Evans.
No, I was going to say, it recasts Mad Dog as a different character in the Raid 2.
It does.
Because spoilers, they do kill him in the Raid 1, but you knew that already.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's just a different guy, and I don't really know...
But it's the same guy.
It's the same actor, but he's playing a different character.
A homeless man.
He's a homeless man. I don't really know what function he serves in the story.
That is the most disposable fight scene.
Yeah.
It doesn't advance anything.
It feels like we can't bring back that character because he's dead, but we want to include that actor again.
Yeah.
Because
he probably was choreographer for the second one as well.
Yeah, and with the exception of Rama, he's probably the best fighter that they have.
I would say he's probably the best fighter they have.
Okay.
I would say he's superior to but he doesn't look like a leading man.
No,
so he can't be.
No, he doesn't.
Also odd thinking about it that the brother-sister fight isn't the final fight in the Raid 2, considering the Raid ends with the two brothers fighting Mad Dog.
It is, though.
No.
You have the kitchen fight, and then he fights them in the corridor outside the bad guy's lair, if you will.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because that's
it's
where...
not the other way around.
No, because that's where he takes her glasses off, because she wears sunglasses through the whole film, and you see what's beneath them.
Okay. I really thought he fights those two, and then it's the kitchen.
Because the kitchen fight is so, it's the fight sequence of that film. It's the one that it's considered like the climax of the film.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, the brother-sister is next.
Okay.
But it doesn't match the...
No, okay.
The kitchen fight.
Okay.
Fair.
So that's the Raid.
So my number 10 of the decade is Skyfall.
Okay.
Right, so the plot of Skyfall. James Bond is shot and presumed dead. What's new? And then an unknown terrorist launches an attack against MI6, targeting M in particular, and Bond sees this on the news and decides to come out of death to lend his assistance. That's the basic setup, I would say.
It is, yeah.
Right, so... Yeah, I think one of the things that we should say about these lists is that it's our favourite 10 of the decade.
Oh yeah, we're being a little objective in the sense that we also think these are good films in and of their own right.
Yes.
But yeah, we're favouring films we prefer over films that we consider to be...
Yeah, so Skyfall beat out many, many better films.
Okay.
But it would be lying not to put this as number 10.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a lifelong Bond fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you the same?
Yeah.
I followed it through its peaks and troughs. And, well, Daniel Craig, the whole franchise has been peaks and troughs, really. His whole stint. I don't know what way to come at it, really. Cause basically, we've just got bullet points.
Is it
each
the best Bond film?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
By what margin?
By what margin?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, it's.
Have I just asked the question incorrectly? Like how much better is it than most Bond films?
For me, it finally overtook an old Bond film as the best Bond film.
That Bond film being
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I have not seen it. Do you concur?
That is generally considered up there. I think the one that's broadly considered the best is From Russia with Love.
Okay.
Which is quintessential classic Bond.
Yeah.
Okay. Which Bond is that?
Connery.
Right. Okay.
It's the he's in Russia. It's the KGB. It's Smersh. It's the Bond film of the Cold War.
Yeah.
But yeah, Skyfall. Obviously, it came out in 2012, which was the 50th anniversary, and the film it's a celebration of the franchise as well as being its own film.
Yeah, the first time the DB5 had been back in a couple of films.
Yeah, it kind of put all the tropes in there. I do think Daniel Craig is the best Bond. I think he's better than Connery, who is generally considered the best. The song is great.
It is a good song.
Yeah.
Is it the best Craig song?
No,
because obviously it's Know My Name is competition.
Yeah, I think
for me, You Know My Name is the best.
It's the best song. Skyfall is arguably the best Bond song in inverted commas. The most traditional Bond song.
Yeah.
You Know My Name is a rock song, basically, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it was a song Chris Cornell already had.
Yes,
and they adapted it.
Yeah,
to make it work.
The only problem with the song is, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast.
You did, yeah.
She rhymes Skyfall with crumble, and that's too dodgy for my liking. Skyfall, watch it crumble.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. The cinematography is
not many people usually say this. The camera angles.
The angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Deakins is the best living cinematographer.
Yes, he may crop up again on our list.
He will crop up again.
Who knows?
On our list, won't he?
Yeah.
And that year he lost the Oscar to Life of Pi, which is
horrific.
Which is horrific.
Yeah.
I really like Casino Royale, but that is more of a Bourne film than a Bond film.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, that's
whereas
fair.
Skyfall does feel like, well, it feels like Bond. I'm not saying Casino Royale didn't, but they were clearly influenced by Paul Greengrass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't really feel that in Skyfall.
No.
But I think Sam Mendes is a great director as well. Directed American Beauty, which is one of my favourite films.
Spectre.
Yeah, I know. It's a nicely directed film, to be fair.
Yes, and it's is it Hoyt van Hoytma did the cinematography? It's a very good looking film as well.
Yeah.
It's just a horrific story.
But
it's a terrible script.
Look what it's in service to, exactly.
They how many writers did they have for Spectre in the end?
Oh, like 20.
Oh, yeah.
Something stupid.
It's ridiculous.
There was like I think it holds the Guinness World Record for the largest practical explosion on film. And you just, it's like, oh, but look what it is, though.
Yes, who cares?
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah, so the Bond series, in a previous podcast, we've talked about how, like, they do the same thing of, like, he walks away, but then he comes back, but then he leaves, and then he comes back, you know. And they never commit to the idea. Another thing they do is they keep dealing with the idea of obsolescence. The secret agents, just in general, are outdated.
Yeah.
Technology is now filling that role. And I think Skyfall is the best at dealing with it of any.
It feels like
films.
the sort of the end point of that theme in Bond, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but like M called Bond a misogynist dinosaur in 1995.
Right.
We get that he's obsolete.
Yeah.
That's sort of part of the package, you know what I mean? But I like that in Skyfall you can see the wear and tear on Craig's face.
Yeah, which you don't see in Spectre, do you?
No.
And I was interested before Spectre came out to see how they would handle it, because he looks, especially compared to Casino Royale, which was only like 6 years before.
Yeah.
He looks so much older.
He does. Like, when he just comes out of death and they're training him up again.
Yeah.
He just looks haggard and just really kind of.
You can tell he's like struggling, and that's one of the things I really like about it, is that Bond is sort of a Gary Stu by design almost. He's supposed to be like a male fantasy character, but they just like penetrate that veneer in this film. He's like really struggling at the beginning, and kind of throughout the film as well. He's always kind of making like little mistakes, like when he's pursuing the assassin in Shanghai, and he's like grabbing onto the elevator and he's like slipping. And just it's like it's not enough that he doesn't feel like James Bond anymore, but he feels vulnerable.
Yeah, and the whole thing of his aim is gone. That's another recurring idea as well.
Yeah.
It's the best written Bond film, I would say.
Yes.
It's certainly of the new.
I was surprised when you told me that it's basically the same writers for all of them.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Yeah.
Neil Purvis and Robert Wade, I think at least since Tomorrow Never Dies or The World's Not. Yeah, they've written all the Bond films.
Okay.
Yes. But it's then numerous people come in and tweak them afterwards.
Oh yeah, I imagine. So.
Yeah. But this just who was it? Was it John Logan with Skyfall? Was he the third writer? I think he's a good jobbing kind of guy.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, because I know Jez Butterworth came in.
Yeah.
To Skyfall and did some tweaks, and I was like, okay, fair enough.
Skyfall.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he came into Skyfall. I was like, okay, I like Jez Butterworth as playwright. He's I think I own all of his plays. He's probably the playwright I follow the most now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they also brought him back in for Spectre.
Yeah, he was credited for Spectre.
He's credited for Spectre, and it's horrific.
Yeah.
It's just surprising given how it's not a comedy, Skyfall, but it's got a very nice sense of humour. It's almost got like a very cheeky sense of humour, where it's mostly kind of like a straight drama, and it's like, it's that typical Bond of like, it's sort of like, it's just cloaked in like dapperness and like suave, but there are moments where the characters are like cheeky with each other and there's a bit of banter. There's my favourite scene in the film, or what's becoming my favourite scene in the film, because it wasn't originally the case, but it's when he first meets Q, who's played by Ben Whishaw,
right?
And they're discussing the art in the art gallery, and Ben Whishaw sort of gives this little sort of almost prepared speech about like this painting. It's like, oh, this warship being towed off to scrap, and it makes me feel this and that and that. What does it make you feel, Bond? And Bond just goes, it's a bloody big ship.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it's the best written, I think.
Yeah.
Those sorts of moments, little character revealing moments, the psychoanalysis scene being another example.
Yeah, day wasted, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to Spectre, where he's like, oh, I'm Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, fucking terrible.
What's going on there?
Yeah. I would say, I think like the introduction of Ben Whishaw particularly, I think was quite fresh because Q had always been, I can't remember his name now.
Desmond Llewellyn.
Yeah, he'd done basically all of them, minus the brief John Cleese.
Yeah,
one film, I think. Yeah. Again, it feels like a kind of mission statement of like, I think what he gives him a tracker,
a radio and a gun,
and it's like, we're not doing the invisible car.
Yeah,
we're not doing that anymore. It goes a bit deeper, and the dialogue's a bit crisper. Like again in the scene with Q says something to him like,
"Age is no guarantee of not wisdom." He doesn't say wisdom, but it's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And youth is no guarantee of innovation. Good. That's good dialogue.
Yeah, like in one scene, you've got those characters, you've got their relationship. It's so efficient while also not showing the seams of what it's doing.
Yeah, and there's the moment where M reads the poem in her trial.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a Bond film with a poet. This isn't advancing the story.
Yeah.
It's because I think the poem's about like old reliable things basically, and like a force for good, and it's like, oh, okay, there is a more auteurist lens that's being filtered through.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a Bond girl to the same level.
No, M is effectively the Bond girl.
Yes, Judi Dench. Her final performance as M.
Yeah.
Is it her finest?
Yeah.
As M?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, she has things to do in this film,
yes.
but it's still a very good turn by Judi Dench as well.
Yeah, I think BAFTA nominated.
Yes.
And
sorry, go
on. Talking about the auteurist stuff, there's the fight in Neon. When he's fighting the hitman.
Oh, yes.
And the camera's just tracking in. Again, it's like we're not used to that sort of stuff. Bond is very paint by numbers, get it done.
Yeah.
There's not much artistry.
Am I right in saying that an intention of that scene is because they're silhouetted by the neon, you're not supposed to know which one is Bond? So
I think so,
So it's like a tension building exercise because you don't know how well he's doing in the fight.
Yeah. But it's also just a cool set piece of like...
Oh, yeah.
Because they're being illuminated by... when they're hitting each other and they're accidentally firing off.
Yes, you see like snippets of their faces. Yeah. The lighting as well in general. It's like London, despite being all like drab and grey in this film, even London looks beautiful the way that it's shot.
I was to say the island, Silver's Island, where they go.
What is that island called? Because that's a real place, right?
It's a real place.
Island. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it's called, but oh my god, that was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of. I mean, the film kind of just covers the colour spectrum in a similar way that Blade Runner 2049 does.
Yes, yeah.
You get a bit of you get London, you get that island, you get the Highlands where it's just all lit by the fire, the house on fire.
That's great.
That's amazing. You get Shanghai, all neon and skyscrapers. It's a very rich visual film.
It is. Yeah. It's very like I think that helps with like the analog like acousticness of the film.
Yeah.
Because it's I mean, films have started going in that direction now, like Mission Impossible 4, after Rogue Nation, which was very like digital from what I remember.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fallout went in a more like I'm going to use the word analog. I hope that you both know what I mean by that. But it's instead of him getting like messages and there being holograms, he's like getting packages again, and he's going to like a record store. Oh, that was in 5, was it?
Oh, I don't.
Doesn't matter.
It's physical.
Yeah, it feels very physical, and it's nice that a film managed to, in a time where in cinema where action films were very like digital. It's nice that they managed to make like a very tangible analog feeling film, earthy film, and they made it make sense in the script as well. Like at the end when Bond sort of quote unquote abducts M and takes her to the Scottish Highlands. There's a reason why they're not using like the resources of MI6 and to fight him and stuff.
And of course, like that theme of at the end of the day, you've got to rely on just sweat and physicality and like it's justified by the narrative, which is we're going to a place where we have to straw dogs the house.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all going to be Home Alone style booby traps. Because we can't. The villain is master of the digital sphere, so we are going to go back to basics. It's great. It plays out thematically and narratively.
I'd have loved it if the film just slipped in a little Home Alone reference in the score. Just the score starts playing Home Alone.
Nah, you just have Macaulay Culkin walk through the background in one shot.
Yeah, or it's like a picture of him up on the wall or something. They never explained it. The technical aspects of the film are great. There is one weak point though for me, and that is the CG animals.
Oh yeah,
which never looked good.
No,
but obviously as time
is
going on, they're aging worse as well.
Yeah.
They're small pieces of the film. But considering, just as we've discussed, like how real the film feels and how like you can touch it,
so
it does take you out of it.
The hardest thing for me is the tube going through. Like, it's completely and utterly believable that could happen in our day and age, particularly with digital.
Have you got a problem with the fact that it happens, or the way that it happens?
It's the way it looks for me.
Okay, because I think that's real. Like, I think that's it's a miniature.
Okay,
yeah.
But there's just something about it when I rewatched it for this that I was like, that doesn't quite live up to.
You got to be careful with miniatures.
You do. It's the same in Batman Begins.
I was about to bring that up when like he goes over the car and then he sort of like it pushes him back and it looks like bad CG, but it's a miniature. You
can tell, and it's the same in Batman Begins where the monorail kind of goes off. The tracks.
The physics are not quite right. And you can tell, you know.
But I much prefer that than CGI, even good CGI. I prefer a clunky miniature than a good. Than good
I suppose you'd be able to tell if it was like a puppet scorpion or something, but it does.
Unless I'm mistaken as well. I think at the moment when they're on the island and the helicopters come, I think the helicopters.
They're not real. Well. Yeah, they're not real.
You can tell, and it does stand out.
Yeah.
Right, Bardem.
Yes, we put it off until now.
Is a sublime villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the finer performances of the decade, I think.
Okay. Bold.
Well, I don't know. I think that's completely fair.
Okay.
And Chigurh was last decade, so I can say that.
Yeah. He's good at being villains, isn't he?
He's very good at being villains.
Yeah.
He's got such a weird he's very camp.
Yes, but he's gay.
He is gay, but obviously he brings that campness to it, and just like the little ticks he has.
Yeah.
When he's talking, things like that.
There is a brilliance to the way he plays Silver.
I love how when spoiler alert, he dies, as Bond villains tend to do. When he gets stabbed in the back by James Bond, he looks almost disappointed in him.
Well, he directs like a gasp of pain at him as like a fuck you. He goes, it's like, how dare you do that? No, it's great. And I love the kind of Bond's sexuality is kind of they've played with it a few times, but I love that little line about
what makes you think it's my first time?
Mr. Bond.
He's just sat there like, well, spreads the legs. And
That's of course Bond would be. Of course he'd be like, bisexual. I guess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it would, whatever gets the job done.
That's what I mean about the cheekiness of it, because it doesn't subtract from the tension of the scene, because that's the scene where he's introduced.
Yeah.
And that's that brilliant monologue where it's just one shot of him coming out the elevator and
talking
about
autorial.
The rats.
It feels.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's the first. I guess, would you say explicitly gay?
You would know more than me. I don't know.
No, in terms of, would you say that character is explicitly gay? Because he never outright, it's never said. He's never shown with a man, but it's clear.
Yes.
That's what he is.
What do you mean? Most explicitly gay ever, or
no, the first explicitly gay Bond villain. But there's not, because I'm remembering there are two from Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay.
Called Winton Kid.
They're gay with each other.
They're gay with each other, but that's done. I think there's one scene where they're walking away after having killed someone, and they hold hands.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because that film came out, I think, 71.
Okay.
And when they do it, there's a lot of music that goes doo-doo-doo-doo.
All right.
Like it's almost like it played as like a.
They're more evil.
They're more evil. Oh, have you seen Diamonds Are Forever?
No, I don't.
Their death
you
scene.
Should.
Yeah, their death scene's like one set on fire, and he falls.
Maybe I have.
And I've definitely shown you this. And he gets the other one, and Bond kind of pulls his arms between his legs.
Yeah.
Pins a bomb to his coattails and flips him off the boat, and he blows up in midair. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. The ex-agents make good Bond villains because they're what Bond could have been.
Yes.
If he'd made some wrong choices.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I think this is the best version of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the whole Mummy Dearest thing that Bardem's got going with M. Yeah. This disturbing mother relationship.
Yeah.
He calls her mother, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Look on your work, mother.
Yeah.
So good. It's so good. And yeah, Bond also has kind of a maternal relationship with M.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a bastard version with Bardem,
Yes.
And I guess playing off this idea that the handler of these agents, it's mentioned in I don't know which film that these are orphans. They're always kind of like angry young people that are then given a home with. And it's that idea, isn't it? She is their mother essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's obviously not deliberate.
No, it comes from their name.
That's a nice, little idea.
Yeah.
Right, let me think. Right, yeah. So I've got it's kind of just a little point. When Bond jumps on the tube in pursuit of Silver, and he gets in the car, there's a dude that's got his back to the camera that really looks like Anton Chigurh from behind, and it distracts me every time I see that film.
Okay.
I think, is it like a little reference? Have you seen No Country for Old Men?
I think I haven't seen all of it.
Okay, so Bardem is...
no, I'm trying to think.
No, I trust you've seen it, yeah.
Bardem is the villain, obviously, in that.
Yeah, I know.
And he has the iconic kind of bob of black hair.
Yeah.
And a lot of the film spends its time behind him as he kind of just menacingly walks up. And it looks so much like him from behind, it always distracts me.
I do want to, briefly to return to the humour, there's a moment where he jumps on the tube, and there's like an old couple who's waiting for the tube, and they see Bond like grab onto the train, then the train goes into the tunnel, and the old guy's like, oh, he's eager to get home. Yeah. That's a comedic beat that I think is too broad for Skyfall, based on the humour that comes before it.
Yeah, I would concur, it stands out.
It feels more like something that would show up in Spectre.
Yeah. The film is kind of self-aware. Obviously we talk about all this 50th anniversary winks, but there's a moment when M gets in his car and he kind of like flips up the eject button.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, go on then, eject me.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know about that?
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's almost like every Bond film has happened between Quantum of Solace and Skyfall.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a way of thinking about it, that he's been James Bond with all of James Bond's iconic moments.
Yes.
And this is the end, essentially, of that.
Okay.
With her death, you know?
Yeah. I have my own little headcanon as well, in regards to Skyfall.
Oh, is it?
The first time we watched it in the cinema, a friend of ours, because you have Bond gets shot off the bridge and he falls into water, and then it's like a fade out and a fade back in, and then you have the opening title sequence, which starts in water. And you have a moment where like the giant hand like grabs Bond's foot and sort of pulls him down into the depths, and then the visuals kind of kick in proper.
Yeah.
And our friend was like, I thought that actually happened. Like for a moment I thought that there's actually a giant. I was like, what's going on?
Okay.
So that's my headcanon, is that a giant hand did indeed pull Bond into the depths, and Skyfall was just like a dream. A dying dream.
Yeah. As he drowns.
Yeah. Spectre is brain death. That's the moment where it dies.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It remains to be seen whether No Time to Die is heaven or hell. Whether we end up in heaven or hell.
We'll see.
But yeah, so yeah, that's my little...
We're ended up in one of the two, that's for sure.
Right, so for each film I've got on this list, I've tried to include at least one critique.
Okay.
So I'm not just licking the arse.
Yeah,
arses of these films. So my critiques for Skyfall, the plot after a certain point makes no sense.
No.
But it's a James Bond film. I don't really care.
No. Yeah.
But that's one thing. This has been flagged up elsewhere, obviously, but the sex scene, or the preamble to a sex scene with Severine in the shower is incredibly dubious.
Yeah.
Because obviously he has a conversation with her where she says, oh, I'm basically a child sex slave. And then he just walks into her shower.
And
they... I'm not sure about that one, Bond.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't necessary. Like, that wasn't even like you had to do it for the job.
No, but that is but that is just list ticking at that point, isn't it? Because as we've said, M is basically the Bond girl this time round.
Yeah, and I suppose my biggest critique is when Silver kills that character. He says, "What do you think of that?" And Bond says, "A waste of good scotch."
Okay,
it's like the film had been going deeper and more personal with Bond up to that point.
Yeah.
And it felt like that flippancy was inconsistent with the tone of the film.
Okay. My counter argument to that is that's kind of the moment where Bond is like, okay, I need to be James Bond now.
I know that. I get that argument, but I don't think they made us see that if that was the case. You should see him struggle for a second, you know.
Okay.
But, oh shit, that horrible thing just happened.
Okay.
But no, it's kind of played as a joke. And I just think that it stands out like a sore thumb when the rest of the film is quite kind to his character. In a way.
It was a waste of good scotch, though.
It was a waste of good scotch. That's
that
all
was
I've
good
got to
Scotch,
say.
wasn't it? All right, you understand.
That's all I've got to say about Sky.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Eddie? Because I'm pretty much done
So
on my
no,
end.
that's my main love of that film is particularly how beautiful that island is.
Yeah.
It's a damn good island. Damn good island.
Number 9.
We've moved on a bit.
Only taken us an hour and a half to get to number 9.
Okay.
We're going to be here a while, James.
Oh yeah. Just so the audience know, chances are we're going to be breaking this up into.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The chances are high.
This isn't just going to be
At least 2.
Yeah. Well, you'll know.
Be
from
prepared for your January to consist of us.
Yeah, you'll know from the timestamps just like how much we've broken it up. But yeah, our plan was never to do this as one long episode because we talk long. We go on at the best of times.
We talk long. Fucking hell.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Number 9 for me.
Yes.
Is Nocturnal Animals.
Okay.
So Nocturnal Animals.
Shit. Go on.
They lost that one.
Nocturnal Animals follows Amy Adams' character. Her former partner sends her a manuscript, which is called Nocturnal Animals, which is what he used to call her because she has a lack of sleep.
Yeah.
She used to call her nocturnal animals.
He used to call her a nocturnal animal.
Right. Okay.
Prick.
Okay. It's your 9th favourite film of the decade. Get it right, Eddie.
You didn't even fucking watch it.
Yeah, but I don't have to get it right. You ever get it right?
But yeah, he calls it Nocturnal Animals and he dedicates it to her. And so what we get is a film that follows her over the following days as she reads the story and then the world of the story sort of coexisting with one another. It's a very violent story.
Mm-hmm.
The characters are clearly based sort of versions of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal plays the partner and then the main character.
His wife it is his wife, isn't it? Yeah, she looks suspiciously like Amy Adams.
Yes. She's played by Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
They just went for redhead actresses.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that like a joke that those two look alike?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a Hollywood
kind
joke.
of playing off that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so there in it you got Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
Who I think is particularly good.
Chomps on the scenery.
Yeah. And then you've got I can't remember his name.
Michael Shannon,
Michael
who I
Shannon.
would say is particularly.
I
good.
think he's the standout.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
We are in agreement.
Yeah,
Well,
I think Michael Shannon's the
Michael
standout.
Shannon is the standout. Period, isn't he? Pretty much anything.
Pretty
he's in.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Just this grunting, menacing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's gonna go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so the world of the story is I think arguably far more interesting.
It's the bulk of the film, definitely. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that the film makes a very clear distinction between the two, doesn't it? Because the style of the real world stuff is very different from the style that the film uses when it's the book, isn't it? The book is almost just like a western.
It's a
No, yeah, okay, maybe not a western.
Yeah, it's a. B,
I haven't seen this film. Remember?
Yeah, it's a B revenge pulp sort of story.
Yeah.
But the film. Do you want to just make all the points and I'll shut up for a while? No, like from what I remember, the stuff that's said in the book, because it's set in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know where. I assume it's California, the real life stuff.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah, so you've got like the stuff that's set in Texas. The image is obviously it's very orange and it's very saturated and it feels very hot and everyone's very sweaty. And then you've got the California real world stuff where it's all very like it's white, large
superficial.
Large white rooms and everything's very cold and
It's the LA like
it's very
designer
art.
scene.
Yeah, it's very
artsy.
Yeah. Repulsively so, but
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's the point.
Oh, I think so.
I think it's
definitely-
100% the point.
Okay.
But yeah, so you follow this story as she goes through that, and then it ultimately ends with her arranging to meet the ex-partner, and he never shows up.
Yeah.
And that's
and
the film.
That
It
is
literally
the
ends
film.
with her being stood up. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think all of the films that I've sort of put on my list are films where I felt I could rewatch them quite happily.
Okay.
This was another one. In fact, weirdly, I kept trying to not include it on my list.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Not because it, for whatever reason, it shouldn't have necessarily made the list. But then I kept coming back to it, and in the end I went, I think the reason I'm coming back to it is because I want it on the list, and I'm arguing the toss for no reason with myself.
Okay.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
It made me want to write.
Yeah, this will come up with another choice of yours, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now, with Birdman as well, quite a few of your choices are about the world of a writer, or, you got theatre in Birdman,
Yes.
you've got this for Nocturnal Animals.
There's something about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. It's always my go-to. There's something about it.
I've got kind of a mixed relationship with Nocturnal Animals. There's my laptop there. The biggest thing for me is I don't know what's meant to be intentional and what isn't. So, for instance, the fact that quite a few people say that Jake Gyllenhaal, the real world Jake Gyllenhaal, was a really good writer, but he's written like trash. Do you know what I mean? Like the book itself is really basic and trashy. It's just about a family that are kind of driven off the road by these rednecks. The rednecks rape and kill his family, and then he sets out for revenge.
Yeah.
Like, that's pulp. That's crap. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know whether that is like, oh, these people are so kind of pretentious, and that he's sort of deliberately written crap as like a middle finger, partly. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether that's intentional or not. Like, the fact that the real world characters are hateful. I hate all the real people in the film. But
so they aren't. I think that they're made to be quite.
That's the thing. I think in that case, yes, they are kind of caricatures.
Say, because the only person, the real world person I like in the film is Amy Adams.
Okay, but I was watching it, and it struck me as the big, horrible, tragic ending for her. It's very privileged in the sense of only in like the LA art scene could being stood up be the denouement of the tragedy. Yeah, he doesn't turn up and she's like, oh, and that's the end of the film. It's like, but I kind of like that in a way. It's sort of, that's who these people are.
To be fair, you've also got the start of the film where it opens with. I'm trying to think of the most politically correct way of saying fat naked women dancing.
yeah, it does. Yeah,
I like the way you leaned in on the fat.
It's fucking disgusting. Yeah,
it's
a bunch of flash planets bouncing.
But it captures your attention straight away.
It does do that.
It does do
that. Yeah. So Aaron Taylor Johnson, because he won the Globe, I think, and maybe the BAFTA. No, he was nominated for the BAFTA.
Yeah, he was because he was nominated for the BAFTA and Shannon wasn't, but then Shannon was nominated for the Oscar.
That's right. Taylor Johnson is really good, but I think he might be. But again, this is part of the thing. I don't know whether his villainy is meant to be kind of obvious because that's the kind of book it is.
Yeah.
Or whether it's just the performance. Because I thought it's similar to The Raid of like, you're trying too hard to make me not like this guy. I already don't like him.
Yeah.
And he does chew the scenery, and like the whole thing when like he's like humping the road, just like taking the piss out of the family. And like when he's having a shit in his outside toilet when they come to arrest him, and he's just like, oh, what do you want? doesn't care and just wipes and looks at it in front of them.
Yeah.
I get it, he's like repulsive, but again, maybe that's a function of, well, that's because he's the villain in a pulp novel.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate that character in the way the film wants me to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate him so much. Just a little smirk he gives Gyllenhaal when he's like, I don't know who you are, but yeah, it's I hate him. So, but I'm not a big fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson, I gotta say. So that kind of informs my dislike of that character. I mean, the rape they had me at rape. In terms of hatred of that character. But.
No, but it is when he finally admits to it, like at the end, and then Jake Gyllenhaal, he's got what he wants out of that. And even then, there's still like a moment where he's holding the gun at him, and you're not convinced he's going to pull the trigger.
No.
And realistically, he pulls the trigger because he swings for him.
Yes.
So ends up with a fucked up face, and then shoots himself.
Yeah, I think like it's a film where the supporting performances kind of overshadow. So Shannon and Taylor Johnson, they're very they're both showy and different. Like Shannon is showy and just like not doing much and just will grunt.
Yeah.
Which he does, better than anyone.
Yeah.
But Jake Gyllenhaal is the unsung hero of that. I think he's great in Nocturnal Animals. It's a really good performance that's kind of been ignored because of what's around it.
Yes.
My biggest problem with the film, I suppose, is that I expected more of a tie-in between the fictional universe and the real universe, like where they were going to start informing each other.
Yes.
And blurring and like, I don't know what's real and
okay.
A Nolan style kind of twist.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's that kind of film, isn't it? With like, or Charlie Kaufman is playing with different levels of reality. You're expecting some sort of in a way, I quite like that. No, they're two very distinct worlds. Like, I do quite like that at the same time. But I find the ending is a bit anticlimactic. But maybe that's the point. I don't know.
See, for me, that is one of my critiques. Is I wanted something else at the end.
Yeah.
Like I was just waiting for something else.
Yeah, I guess his. If you want to look at Gyllenhaal as like the villain of the real world, I guess his because they were married, weren't they?
They were married, and then
she cheated on him.
That's not necessarily explicitly said,
Okay.
but she gets rid of his child.
Right, without telling him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then so she sat in the car park of the abortion centre, and she looks up, and he's there.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the book is basically his revenge against her. I guess in terms of like his plan is right. I'll send you this book. It's going to be this horrible story about this family that get like raped and butchered. She will read into that I'm like putting her in that role.
Yes.
And then I'll get her so kind of like involved in my headspace again that I'll arrange to meet her and I won't show up, and that will be the ultimate. I guess that's what the plan is.
Yeah.
Weird plan. Just like, I don't know, just create a character with her name and make her a bitch or something. I don't know. But yeah, it is a very...
Well, there's a point where she's like, he sent me this manuscript.
Yeah.
And he dedicated it to me.
Yeah.
And she kind of like doesn't know what he's got.
What the fuck he's playing at.
Yeah.
It is a very West Coast film, It's very like, with that ending, the fact that like, it's kind of a passive-aggressive revenge. It's like, I'm going to write a book where like, I'm sort of...
genius idea.
Where I'm just going to like, torture you with its ambiguity, about why have I dedicated this to you? You're going to stay up, And I have one minor critique as well. That jump scare is completely unnecessary. Yeah. Which is when she's looking at the baby cam, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson says, I was like, why? Why did he do that? But I guess that's his revenge, right? To torment her with
yeah, definitely. I think as soon as you mentioned the baby, I was like, that's probably where the jump scare comes from.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like they're socialites, the shallow socialites, who just don't think of the world like that. Yeah. So when she's been presented it in the form of this, but maybe that's just kind of he's pricking the bubble of her privilege. I don't know. I thought
it's all right.
Yeah, John, what do you think?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah. No, you've covered more than I would cover, but also you've covered stuff that I was like, I agree with that.
Okay.
So I agree with that. I watched it in the cinema, and I haven't really felt a compulsion to go back to it. Not because of the quality of the film. I mean, it's a very well made film and it's got great performances in it. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like I got everything I needed on the first watch.
Yeah, I think because they don't do any kind of like blurring of the two worlds, it is very. This is one world. This is the other. It's distinct, open, shut, done.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like you got to really be in the mood to go back because it is quite a grueling film as well.
It is.
Like the scene, that scene on the highway is horrible.
Oh,
it's really well done. It's like, I sort of know where this is going.
You feel helpless. As an audience member.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just with that scene, there's a bit where they have like no music as they drive off with the daughter and the wife.
Yeah, where it cuts out, you just can't believe what has happened.
Yeah, you can't believe what's happened. So there's just no music, and that silence is disgusting.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely disgusting.
I like that sentence. Yeah, disgusting silence. Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
okie dokes.
That is my number 9.
Jordan.
So from Nocturnal Animals, we go to the Lego Movie, which is my number 9.
Okay.
The Lego Movie is a film about...
Lego.
It's about how everything is awesome.
You say that as a joke, but it is genuinely a film about Lego. It's about this Legoman called Emmett, who's like a very generic Legoman.
Is that what they're called?
No, they're called minifigures. I think they're called. But I've decided they're going to be called Legoman from now on.
Okay.
Yes, Emmett, played by Chris Pratt, who's a very generic Legoman, and he he gets wrapped up in this. What happens? I don't remember what happened.
He gets wrapped up in a big adventure.
He does. The problem is, it's one of those films where I think more about. It's weird to sort of summarize it on a surface level. I'm not going to claim that this film is deep or anything like that.
No.
But it's weird to think about it on the surface level. I said in a previous podcast that Lord and Miller, who wrote and directed this film, I'm pretty sure they wrote it. They definitely directed it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They've sort of become known for kind of like making films about the property that they're adapting, as opposed to using the trappings of that property in the way that most people would adapt material. But I will try and summarize the surface stuff. So yes, Emmett, Legoman, generic. He gets what's known as the piece of resistance glued onto his back, stuck to his back. Yeah, he does. And he gets embroiled in this adventure in which they say, "Oh, because you've got the piece of resistance stuck to you, you are now the chosen one. You are the special, as they call it, and you're going to help us defeat the evil Lord Business, who is a businessman, a Lego businessman."
Played by Will Ferrell.
It's a very standard kind of chosen one story until it's not.
Yeah.
That is the Lego movie. Who wants to start on the Lego movie?
Well, you.
Okay.
Explain why it's in the top 10.
It's my top 10. Yeah, as I say, the making the film about the franchise. I think that's the real genius of this film. It's very funny. It's got a very particular sense of humor, a very kind of like anarchic, that it's very like frantic and like, visuals, things are happening. But yeah, I think the really clever thing about this film is that they said, right, how do people typically engage with Lego? There's the people who like to be freeform and creative and just build whatever, and there's the people who follow the instructions rigidly. That's going to be the central conflict of the film. And there's just like the fact that the film is animated. It was an animated film, obviously, but the fact that the film is animated to look like a Lego stop motion film. I think that was just a really smart decision, because it stands out visually, like instantly, like, okay, that's the Lego movie, I know what that is. I don't know about you guys, like one of the first YouTube videos I remember seeing was Lego Death Star Canteen. No, you're not familiar with it? Are you familiar with this?
Maybe.
It's it's like an extract of Eddie Izzard's stand-up, but there's like people who've like done a stop motion Lego animation over the top of it.
Yes.
Yeah. There's like loads of different ones. There's Cake or Death. There's Do You Have a Flag? Like things like that. So even though I never did stop motion Lego myself, I know that there's a lot of people out there to whom that's.
I never filmed it, but I would have definitely done that as a
kid. And that's just something you do as a kid as well, isn't it? You just pour your imagination into this Lego, and it's like, this is now like he's a spaceman and he's going to go to space, and we're in space now, and you know that's another thing I like about it, is that it does feel like it becomes more prophetic than one would initially think, but it sort of feels like a kid playing with his toys.
And 1980 spaceman is annoying as fuck.
Okay, we'll get to him because, well, I'm sure you'll have something to say on that, Sam.
About what now?
It was 1980 Spaceman.
Climate. What is that?
It was Charlie Day.
Oh yeah, I've got one of my points is Charlie Day is irritating.
It's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. By design, do you think?
No.
I
think Charlie Day people find that voice charming. Like, Charlie Day.
No, not charming.
Surely
not charming.
No, genuinely.
No.
The people love his voice. Like, that's why every comedy film he's done in the last few years, he just highlights that Charlie Day-ness of it. I fucking hate Charlie Day.
Okay.
I like him in Horrible Bosses.
I don't like, because I am seeing Horrible Bosses, to be fair, but he does it in that as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But I like that.
We saw Fist Fight.
We did.
What the fuck is that?
Less said the better.
Fair enough.
One of the worst films of that year.
Yeah.
Him and Ice Cube.
Fist Fight, not Fist Fight.
Him and Ice Cube.
Yeah, but they're both, very quickly, they're both teachers. Ice Cube gets sacked sort of because of Charlie Day, and then he says he challenges him to a fight, so they can resolve their differences in the parking lot. So in the whole film is him like, how do I get out of this, or how do I train up to beat Ice Cube in a fight? And then they actually just have a fight.
Right.
That's the film.
That's the film.
That is the film.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible. But yeah,
Yeah.
Lego Movie.
Lego Movie. What are you going to say about the Lego Movie?
I haven't got much to say about it, honestly. I agree with you that it's very clever.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny. It's very dense.
Yeah.
I like the animation style of it.
Yeah.
It is very frenetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're not tuned into it, you'd hate it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. It has that kind of child mania to it.
Yeah. And
It's very manic.
some other films that are going to come up have a similar thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I like the film quite a lot, and I think it's a really good script.
Mm.
But every time I watch it, it's got me for an hour,
Yeah.
and then I'm out.
Yes.
Every single time.
Okay.
After Act 2, I'm out.
Okay.
I've had I'm full.
Mm.
And again, similar to a film that we will discuss later, where it's similarly energetic and very in your face, but it's stretched out
I just
enough.
realised what film. it
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I feel full at the end of it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Lego Movie, I guess because it's a slightly younger audience, it's kind of too much junk food almost.
Okay.
And I get a sugar rush by the end of Act 2. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fair enough.
But I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then part of the appeal of the film, and also just Lego in general, is they don't just stick to. It's not just Lego film set in city.
No.
Like it's a globe-trotting
Yes.
adventure of sorts. They go to like the Wild
Globe-trotting.
West. They go to block trotting.
Trotting.
I was
Yeah.
like block trending. That's not right. They go to like a place in the clouds, and like Batman is like one of the main supporting characters, and yeah, I really like that. Just the thatness of it.
The anarchy of it.
The anarchy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, one of the most important things about the film, though, is the fact that they've got the real world mixed in with the animated.
Yes, that's what I meant about the propheticness
Yeah.
of it feels like a kid playing with toys, because as you find out, it is literally a kid
Well,
playing with
a kid playing with an adult's toy.
an adult's toy.
As
yes.
well as we find out. No, Sam. That's next week's episode.
The dildo movie.
Yes, no.
We're
We'll.
giving them ideas now. We're giving the film people ideas.
Okay. The dildo movie is
Okay.
copyright.
Yeah.
You cannot steal
Copyright
that.
Fun Limited.
You cannot steal that idea. So don't fucking make it.
The dildo mega store? Go on.
But yes, as you find out, Will Ferrell, who's played Lord Business throughout, is his father,
Yeah.
the man upstairs, as it were.
Yeah.
And,
Meta. Isn't it?
and you find out that the Craggle is crazy glue. And
Oh
that-
yeah. The piece of resistance is supposed to neutralize the Craggle, and yeah, you find out it's the lid of a crazy glue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, this is the thing, where it skirts towards being smart ass as opposed to smart.
Okay.
But it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't never goes there. But it's like, you're testing it a bit.
Yeah.
You're getting too close to being like, aren't we, sort of.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they never quite. It is very clever, but it also partly inspires me to do the same thing I would with Bourbon, which is,
Okay.
Yeah.
as opposed to like loving it and like being
Yeah.
proper invested in it.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about the Lego movie is the double-decker couch.
What about the double-decker couch?
Because everyone basically hates it, I absolutely love it.
The double decker couch.
Okay.
Where's this?
So
It turns out a couple of times.
so Emmett, but he's not a master builder, obviously,
A master builder.
and so they're like,
Surely
just carry on, Eddie. Ignore him.
but yes, so he isn't a master builder, and they're like, well, what have you ever come up with that's your own sort of creative design?
Right.
And it's like, well, I came up with a double decker couch once to have all my friends round, and like when shit hits the fan and they all end up in the water,
Yeah.
it's like the one thing that keeps them all alive.
Yeah,
Okay.
they escape on a pirate ship, and the only thing that survives is the double-decker couch.
Nick Offerman voices the pirate, right?
He does. He sounds nothing like Nick Offerman.
No, it's proper like pirate.
Yeah, I was really
Yeah.
surprised to learn
Yeah.
it was Nick Offerman.
I love the bit in the open. The best part of the film is the opening,
Yes.
where it's his life.
Yes, absolutely.
They nail that.
Yeah.
And there's the moment where it's he goes into the coffee store. It's part of like a really frantic montage.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "That's $50," and he's like, "Awesome!" I love that beat. Just like that silence. So he just can't compute.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is aimed at a very young audience, but there is enough there for the adults.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. As all good family films should be, I think.
For everyone,
Yeah.
for the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kids will enjoy the animation and just the characters and all that sort of stuff. And then as a parent, you can go, but I know what's really going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it runs in a similar vein to me as Paddington does.
Okay.
Because Paddington, there are things that are said in the it's technically it's a lovely child-friendly film, but through the dialogue there are things that are said and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's got those hidden jokes, and the Lego Movie has various hidden,
My rule with that, for family/children's films and putting adult jokes in there, as long as when the kid asks what that means, the adult is able to answer, I'm okay with it. If not, I just don't think it has any place in a children's film. Do you know what I mean?
We watched
I was gonna bring it up.
Transformers: The Last Night very recently. Have you seen Transformers: The Last Night, Eddie?
No, because it's shit.
I highly recommend.
No.
Transformers: The Last Night.
For anyone that is listening on this podcast, never watch a single of the modern Transformers films.
No.
Well, I think
It's my review of that.
It's a okay. No, I think it's okay to watch Bumblebee, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That is the word for it. But we watched that, and though I wouldn't call Transformers a kids' film, it doesn't feel like it's aiming. It's certainly not the same age demographic as the Lego Movie.
No, though that is what it should be aiming at.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the language in Transformers is insane.
Shit. Every other sentence.
Genuinely,
shit.
yeah.
Like, I was genuinely like, it's for kids.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing this. I was genuinely like appalled. Yeah, it's we basically
I think they even throw a couple of fucks in there as well.
Yeah. We were having like a bad film day.
So you watch Transformers?
Yeah.
Emphasis on bad. Yeah.
Jordan had been recommending
Terrible
it for a
choice.
long time on the strength of Anthony Hopkins' insane indifference. But that was, I was angry.
Is it
watching
indifference on Anthony Hopkins?
Indifference, like, I don't care what this. I'll read the lines how I want to read them.
Yeah. That is the best part of the film.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only good part of the film.
It is.
It's just how much of the piss Anthony Hopkins is taking in his performance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take it seriously. You get
you
a paycheck
absolutely
to be in a bag of shite.
Yeah. This is not in our top 10, so we shouldn't.
No, it's
you're
not.
reviewing the last night.
It was a funny. We also watched the Emoji Movie, or tried to watch the Emoji Movie.
We did.
Very briefly. We didn't get through it.
I was going to say it's horrific.
I did my best.
But there was
so bad.
No. There was a moment where... What was it? It was like earlier in the film where James Corden says something to someone.
I came back from the cinema having seen that.
Why?
Why'd you go to the cinema?
It was part of work.
Okay.
But I went to cinema. So I came back and I walked into the place I was working at the time, and my colleagues just looked at me and went, "You look so broken." I was like,
Yeah, the emoji of like the sad emoji.
I think there must be a worse. Like, there's got to be an emoji that describes me better than just sad, because I just looked like the flesh should have been coming off me.
Yeah, I just couldn't get through it.
No.
I couldn't get through it all.
But I brought it up because I can't remember exactly what he says, so I'll have to substitute it. But there's like a character. James Corden's trying to sneak into an area, and there's a character who's like following him in, and he's like, "Oh, sod off," or like, "Be gone," such and such.
Back off.
Back off. Yeah, back off. And Sam just looks at me with shock. It's like, I thought he said "fuck off."
Yeah,
was genuine.
I jumped because I thought it was a kids' film.
Yeah,
it made me think, am I broody? Because like, do I want kids now? Because like the fact that they were swearing in a kids' film, I was like, I jumped.
Kids might see this.
Kids, it's like,
or kids will see this. Yeah.
Patrick Stewart as the shit emoji.
Yeah,
you would though if they offered me, like, come and do this terrible script. You're playing poop. Yes, I'm doing it. I'm poop. Okay.
So that was the Lego movie.
That was, yeah. Do you have anything more to say on the Lego movie?
No, and it's not. Yeah, it's a very good film. And in a way, I kind of want to let the film itself do the talking. So
Doesn't have Patrick Stewart playing a poo.
it sadly does not have Patrick Stewart, but it has Will
That's Charlie
Arnett.
Day being a shit, though.
Yeah, it has Charlie Day being a shit.
It's
Yeah.
got Morgan Freeman in it. It's
It
fine.
has.
It
Will-
does.
Yeah,
Cover your butt.
it has Will Arnett being Batman. It has
Yeah, that's good.
Liam Neeson being good cop,
That's,
bad cop.
that's good.
He's very good in it.
Alison Brie is quite good in it.
It's a good
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah.
Who've
It is a
turned in
good
good
cast.
performances. Yeah.
Okay, from the Lego movie
Yes.
to my number 9, which is Calvary.
Oh fuck. We've right roller coaster these number 9s have been, haven't they?
Okay, so Calvary is about an Irish priest.
From Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, don't you know?
What was that, Eddie? do you want to do that again?
No, I don't.
Okay.
A Catholic priest, obviously a Catholic priest, in a small Irish town. And at the very start of the film, a man comes into the confession box and basically threatens to kill him. Well, it says he's going to kill him a week to that day, which is the following Sunday.
Mm.
And then the whole film is just kind of like, well, it's the week playing out essentially.
Yeah.
As the countdown ratchets on. It's not a film that's heavy on the plot in that sense. I feel like that's the
No,
most I can
it-
really say plot wise.
It just follows him as he kind of gets his affairs in order.
As he sort, yeah, and like, yeah. So okay, so let's go into it a little bit. The opening scene is quite striking. The
Yes.
opening line. Well, yeah, okay. So the film has like a couple of meta moments. This being one of them, where the film it starts off and it's just a close up of Brendan Gleeson, and the whole scene just plays out in one take on his face. And the guy sits in the confession box, who you never see, and I think the opening line is,
I first tasted semen when I was 7 years old.
yeah.
Or something. It
And
was
then
a similar age
Yeah,
to
and
that.
Brendan Gleeson says, well, that's certainly a startling opening line.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a fan of meta in films.
Okay.
I don't.
No.
It pulls me out of it, and it is smart ass. It works for me in Calvary. That's one example. But I'll skip straight to my one critique of it.
Oh, okay.
There's one towards the end. I can't remember the context in which it's said, but someone says, "How's that for a third act revelation?"
Right.
And it's like, a bit too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit too much. But okay. So I'm trying to find the right language to express why I love this film so much.
They burned down a church.
Yeah, that's
They
it.
kill a
They
dog.
kill a dog. They kill the dog. Yeah.
Not only did they kill the dog, we never find out who killed said dog.
Well,
No, not in the film, but I think it's been said outside of the film who did it.
Oh, okay.
in the scene that follows, shock spoiler, the priest dies.
He does. He does.
He gets his week to put his affairs in order, then he still gets shot.
Yeah.
In the scene after that, there is a shot of like every person in the cast.
Yeah.
Whoever it is apparently has a bandage on their hand.
Oh, really? Okay, because I've heard that it was the barman.
Yeah,
So maybe
it's got like
Yeah.
a plaster or something on his hand, and that's supposed to signify who did it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Because the dog
Yeah.
bit them or whatever.
So, as you pointed out before, I love Dread.
Yes.
As in the sensation, not
Yes.
the film. I think it's the most...
Dreadful.
It's the most kind of alchemic, if that's the right word, mercurial, weird sensation that you can get from a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when it's done right.
Yeah.
Not fear, dread. Something is gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's very obvious why. Obviously, it's obvious why in this film that dread is there.
Mm.
But it's not like it's not hanging over it in a incredibly weighty fashion. It escalates as the week goes on, but it's quite subdued. He never really talks about it with anybody.
No.
He might I think he tells his cardinal, like the superior or bishop or
It
whatever.
sort of feeds into a point that I wanted to make about the film, which is your natural inclination. Because you don't see the face of the person, and it turns out the voice was also disguised. I don't even think it's the same guy.
No, it's none of the actors.
Outside of the film now,
Yeah.
they don't use the guy who ends up being the person who
No.
kills the priest in
No.
that confessional box.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, I think it might even be a couple of shots later, he's doing service in which he's giving communion to the people of the parish, and it's showing them one by one.
Yeah.
and in your mind you're going, oh, okay, these are the suspects.
Yeah.
And it's going to turn out to be like this whodunit where he's going around the town and he's like
trying to figure out. Yeah.
But no,
he says when he goes to see the cardinal, he's like, "Oh, what do you think I should do?"
Yeah.
Because not much you can do really. He says, "Do you know who it is?" He says, "Yeah, I know who it is." He knows who it is. As soon as they say it to him, he knows who it is.
Well, he says, I think there's a scene later on where he casts doubt on whether he knows.
Okay.
But I don't know whether that was him. I don't know whether he actually was doubting it. Or...
Yeah, so that's just self-doubt.
Yes,
yeah.
Then.
Or just because I think that scene happens after the church is burnt down, so obviously the cardinal now has, or whoever it is, has a vested interest in capturing this person. So I don't know whether he's like, not protecting them, but sort of like, oh, I don't want to incriminate someone.
Okay, well, you'll have to forgive me. I know I can come out with some flowery language,
Okay.
on a day-to-day. But because of the nature of this film, I'm going to have to be quite pretentious in how I talk about it, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So forgive some of the more lofty language. Okay.
What a prick.
It's meandering towards infinity is what this film is.
Okay.
The film is a not even a walk or a march towards the inevitable. It is a meander. It's him wandering around this town, stocked with these interesting, colourful characters who pretty much invariably hate him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing he's going to die.
Yep.
And the whole film is that kind of that sensation of, oh, it's coming, but we're going to get there kind of just at our own pace.
Yeah.
I've got it is structured, but very, very loosely. It's almost, here's the word, picaresque.
Okay.
The film is essentially just a series of conversations with broken, cynical weirdos.
Okay.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Highlight for Dylan Moran for playing quite a fuck.
Yeah, he's great. It's there are conversations in it. There are scenes and bits of dialogue that don't make logical sense necessarily. I don't mean to say it's surreal because it's not.
No.
But it has a logic that you sort of understand sensationally as you're watching it or after the fact. So like when he says, "Oh, I could piss on," Dylan Moran basically plays a banker who's kind of stupidly rich.
Yeah, just has infinite wealth
and just buys things for the sake of it. And he gets a painting off the wall. He's like, "This cost me like £20,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
I'll piss on it if you want." And then Brendan Gleeson's like, "Why the hell would I want you to do that?" And it's sort of, it makes a kind of sense that I can't really articulate. The whole film basically is this a decent man, one of the few decent men left in the world, and the world just spitting at him.
Yes,
that is what the
one
film
of
is
the few
about.
decent men, certainly in the church.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. It's kind of a film about modern Ireland in a way, about how the bankers have fucked everybody over, expressed through Dylan Moran's character, and yes, how there's a scene where there's a little kid walking along like the country path, and he just has a really innocent conversation with her, and then the father pulls up, is like, "Get back in the car!"
Yeah,
and you just see this utter like despair, not despair, like just sadness on Brendan Gleeson's face. He's like, "There's nothing I can do about this."
Well,
like,
there's at the end. The climax where Chris O'Dowd.
Yeah. So Chris O'Dowd plays a character who was abused by another priest.
Yes.
When he was a child, and has just decided I can't kill him because he died already. So I'm going to kill you just because I can, basically.
Yeah, I think he says, doesn't he? Like, killing a bad priest, no one cares, but killing a good priest, will send a message.
Yes. Yeah.
But in that scene, the Brendan he's talking to Brendan Gleeson. And he says, he asks him about how much he cried when his dog was killed.
Yeah.
And then he asks him if he cried about all the kids.
When he found out about,
all the kids. And Brendan Gleeson says no.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, I think it's difficult to know whether he's saying that to goad him into doing what he knows he's going to do. He says, "No, I suppose I felt indifferent, really." It almost feels like a performance, like he's just saying that.
Yeah, he says he felt detached.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. Yes, it's very... I mean, the performance is astonishing. Like, that central performance. It's one of the best I've seen in film. For me, it's great. Just quietly great, It's not a showboat performance.
No.
He just is this decent man.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson is this decent guy who's he's a priest, but he's worldly and he's educated.
Yeah.
Because I think he became a priest quite late in his life after his wife died.
Well, yeah, he has a daughter.
Yeah, he has a daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of knows the world. And the thing I love most about his character is the utter no-nonsense ness of him.
Yeah.
He just won't have any bullshit.
No.
I'm trying to give some examples. So, okay, I think there's Chris O'Dowd. His wife is having an affair with a man from the Ivory Coast.
Yes.
And she's been hit either by Chris O'Dowd or the guy she's having an affair with. And Brendan Gleeson goes to see her just as part of his pastoral duties. And he asks about her black eye. And she says, that's quite beautiful in a way, isn't it? And he's like, what do you mean? She says, oh, you can find beauty in anything if you look hard enough. He's like, I think that's nonsense. And it's like, it completely just undercuts her point. It reminds me at the end of season 2 of Fargo, where Kirsten Dunst, who's kind of caused all this murder and mayhem, is trying to justify it like through a feminist lens, like, oh, as a woman you're expected to have it all, like have a job and have a home, and he's like, people have died, shut the fuck up, basically.
Yeah.
And it completely, like, you're expecting this great monologue about oppressed womanhood and all that stuff, and he's like, no, it's as simple as this, black and white, you've killed people, that's it.
Yeah.
And Brennan, there's a lot of scenes in Calvary where he undercuts someone's grasping to be kind of pretentious or grasping. You know what I mean? I relate to that. I mean, like, they keep invoking the history of the church's evils. So, like, the African dude says to him, oh, what are you going to do if I don't listen to you? Cut my arms off like they did to the children in Africa? Yeah. And he's basically just never having any of it. He's he's acknowledging what the church has done.
Mm.
But he's like, I'm not gonna be the I can't just bend over for these people, basically. Like, I have to stand upright.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole story, basically, it's a Christ parable, isn't it? And you said the title, George.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the first time I saw it, I mistakenly thought the title was Cavalry.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, why do they call it that? Like, oh, is it like a ironic thing? Because like, oh, you call in the cavalry, but like he's completely on his own,
right? Okay.
Or whether it's like,
and it has a western tint to it as well.
And a western tint, yes.
West Island, I think it is.
West Island, it's set in, and there are a few shots of just the enormous scale of like some of the scenery and the mountains that surround it as well.
And he's kind of, because he has his one. He just wears his priestly robes.
Yes.
He's basically like a Western character. Like, he's always in that.
Yes.
He's
like the robes billowing in the wind, like a duster coat and stuff like that. But when, obviously, I soon learned the title was Calvary. And of course, same problem. Like, why did they call it Calvary?
Yeah.
I said cavalry again, almost.
Cavalry, yeah.
And then I learned that Calvary is another name for Golgotha, which is the hill upon which Jesus was crucified. And as soon as you learn that, you're like, got it. I know exactly what the film is.
It's a Christ parable about a guy that, because they're right. So
I love titles like that, where it's like it's not immediately clear what's going on. Like, why do they call it that? And then you hear it, you're like, okay.
Like Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Although apparently,
Trainspotting 2 kind of ruins it a little.
Yeah. So in T2, they retroactively explain why it's called Trainspotting, because is it Robert Carlyle saw his father?
Yeah.
As like a drunk homeless man in a abandoned train station.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you, train spotter, lad? I always thought it was called train spotting because heroin users have tracks on their arms.
Yeah.
Which is, let's face it, much better.
That's
a far superior.
So that's a fantastic place for a title to come from. Yeah.
And the fact that the film is as energetic and mad as it is, and about heroin users.
Yeah.
But it's called train spotting.
Which sounds like a very placid activity, doesn't it?
It's the most anorak thing to be. Yeah. Like, brief tangent, Noel Gallagher refused to do a song for Trainspotting because he thought it was a film about train spotters.
Oh, right.
Like, I'm not going to do a song for a boring Trainspotting film.
Yeah.
Anyway. So it's a Christ parable about a guy that decides that he's going to die to kind of cleanse sin, essentially.
Yeah.
And stop the cycle of pain.
Yeah.
He says to his daughter just before he dies, I think people talk about sins all too much and they never talk about virtues. I think forgiveness has been highly underrated or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, of course, the film ends with he's killed by Chris O'Dowd and then his daughter goes to visit Chris O'Dowd in prison, thus breaking the cycle of... And that is why I would not call it a depressing or bleak film, as you might, George.
Yes.
It is a dark film. An
It's
incredibly
fucking
dark
miserable.
Film. It's not
is
miserable.
What it is. It's miserable.
It's a hopeful film.
It's this good guy. It's this solid bloke.
Yeah.
Wandering around the town for like.
Sorry, George just said solid bloke.
Yeah, it's a solid bloke wandering around the town for 2 hours. As people go, "Oh, fuck off!
Yeah.
I hate you and everything you stand for."
Yeah.
And he dies and.
Of his own choice.
Yeah, but
I mean,
like when the daughter goes to like Chris, I was like, oh, is this supposed to be like? Is this supposed to forgive the 2 hours of like misery you've just put me
It's
through?
not 2 hours of misery because it's a comedy.
Or like an hour and a half of misery, however long it is.
No.
I mean,
Calvary is a comedy. The film
No,
is a
I will
comedy.
say it's funnier than I remember.
Yeah. It's a
It build-
proper dark comedy.
It bills
Yeah.
itself as a black comedy, and it's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
that. Not because like the subjects are taboo, just like the, I guess the attitude with which they're being, the humor is coming from is what makes it so dark. The comedy.
Yes.
I mean, he had access to a gun, so he could have shot Chris O'Dowd himself.
He had access to a gun. He gets on he's about to board a plane, and it's moments like this that make me love the film.
Yeah.
As he glances over and he sees the two crewmen, for the plane, kind of leaning disrespectfully on a coffin, and then it just cuts to him driving back to the town. And I love things like that where he's clearly just like, the world's fucked. I'm just gonna like let this guy do this to me, and maybe it will bring some comfort in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? It is a black comedy. The scene with Milo in the church is a highlight for me. We talked about wanting to join the army.
Yes. And then does, I believe.
At the very end does,
Yeah.
But another no nonsense moment for Gleason where he's just like, I think people who want to join the army just want to kill people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Things like that. Whether he's right or wrong.
So I should join the army.
He just says what he thinks, Another little highlight for me is just a performance beat where Aidan Gillen, who's like the most villainy member of the cast, I would say.
Is he the doctor?
He's, mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
He comes in and he basically tells him a story.
It would appear so.
Yeah. He tells a story about this kid that like became deaf, dumb and blind.
Oh god.
And just wouldn't even know how that happened and would never see the parents. And there's a silence burning Gleason goes, why the fuck would you tell me a story like that? And I love it. It's like it's not played, it's not a laugh, it's just like he's like, what possible reason could you have?
Yeah.
You're just trying to make me like lose my faith, basically.
Yeah.
And he gets in fights. He's an awesome priest. He's brilliant. Okay, I've got you. It could easily be mistaken for cynicism.
Okay.
Like a cynical film.
Yeah.
Because of how
I can
dark
believe
it is.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not. It's a rejection of cynicism.
Okay.
And by that, the ending, basically.
Okay.
Whether you think it kind of wipes the slate clean of all the darkness before it is one thing.
Well, no, it doesn't do that because it shows.
Okay.
It does show people, like the people of the town, their lives just sort of carrying on after Brendan Gleeson's death. You could argue, like maybe, like those that's what they're doing at the moment he dies. They haven't learned of his death.
Yeah.
But it just does kind of give the impression, with the exception of the very final scene with Chris O'Dowd, it does kind of give the impression of, nothing's been achieved. Right. It doesn't matter that he's dead. People just carry on.
But the thing is, it's a symbolic resolution, isn't it? Because yes, it's not like his death is suddenly gonna motivate all these people into life. Basically, will continue. Like I love the moment where he's standing like over the sea, and then Dylan Moran comes up to him, and finally just like loses all the bullshit, and he's like, "I'm struggling, to be honest."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll come see you afterwards, okay?" He's like, "Okay." That's not. He's obviously not going to. He knows he's not going to. That's completely unresolved. And it's not like he dies and then we see Dylan Moran kind of like, I must now like think my. No, like his life will just go on. Yeah. Hopefully, a bit better for everybody. But yeah, symbolically, isn't it? It's saying that it's time to end this cycle of blame.
Yeah.
That's all I've really got to say about Calvary.
Okay.
I think it's the only film on my list anyway that you're not going to see on many best of the decade lists.
I'd be surprised if it was on.
You know what I mean?
It's
a little film, a little weird film. So I suppose that would be my biggest recommendation in a way.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's easily will have slipped through the cracks. I think.
Yes, and it came out in 2014, I believe,
It did.
which was a good year for cinema.
It was.
It was a very good year.
Yeah.
number 8 continues along the theme of priests.
Okay.
Because my number 8 is Spotlight.
Ooh, okay.
Right.
Now, I'm going to preface that Spotlight appears on someone else's list further down the line.
In this instance, do we not talk about Spotlight for the time being?
So we'll have a proper discussion.
We'll table the discussion until the last place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. To me then, my number 8 is Sicario.
Okay.
Sicario stars Emily Blunt as Emily Blunt. She plays a.
It doesn't star.
No, it doesn't star Emily Blunt as Emily Blunt at all.
I believe her name is Kate Mesa.
Kate Mesa. I thought it was Mercer.
I believe it's Mesa.
Shows what I know.
George, you didn't rewatch your own film, so come on.
No, I rewatched this. I rewatched this specifically to see whether it would go on the list at all, and it did.
I watched it yesterday.
Oh, okay, all right. So it should be fresh in your. You should remember all the things about it. Yes, it stars Kate Mercer as Emily Blunt.
Mesa. if you can't do two mistakes. You can't do. Yeah.
She plays an FBI.
Just an FBI agent.
Oh, she's just an FBI agent. The film opens with her being a member of the strike team that are sort of battling the fight. They're fighting the war on drugs and fighting the drug cartels and losing, as the opening scene makes very clear. She's then approached by Josh Brolin, who plays this sort of mysterious figure higher up in the government who says...
CIA,
okay. Yeah. He's like, hey, I hear you're losing the war on drugs. Do you want to start winning the war on drugs? So she's then recruited by him, and along the way she meets Benicio del Toro, who plays this sort of like deliberately kind of mysterious character. We don't quite know what his deal is or where he comes from. And after being recruited, she starts doing things where it's not entirely clear whether it's above board, and then as the film goes on, it becomes very clear that what they're doing is not above board, and the film continues in that fashion. The tagline is something like, the border is just another line to cross, and I think that summarises what the film is doing very clearly. Yeah. It's set in, parts of it is set in Mexico, parts of it is set in El Paso, I believe.
Yeah. The border.
The border, yeah. So, some people might think, is it going to be like a thriller, like an action thriller type thing? Because it's like FBI fighting drug cartels. Is it going to be like a Breaking Bad thing, where it's sort of like a neo-Western that's informed by the environments? I would propose that Sicario is a horror film. I don't know about you two. Or at least it's closer to a horror film than...
I would concur.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I wouldn't call it a horror film.
It's not horror, it's ghosts and jump scares.
Yeah. I mean, it's dread, similarly to Calvin.
Yes.
A lot more heavy in Sicario, I would say.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean. Like, I would say it's a very slow thriller.
Yes.
A slow burn thriller.
Yeah.
But yes, it takes on the kind of... Yeah, experientially, it sort of becomes a horror movie. Yeah.
I think the film plays its hand very quickly, because the first scene is them raiding a house, and they find very quickly that the walls are lined with corpses.
Yeah.
And that's a very horrific image. They've just torn down all the walls in this house, and there's just body bags throughout the entire building.
And there's a moment where I think, that we've had that reveal.
Yeah.
We've seen all the bodies, and then they go out to like the yard to open up the...
It's like a shed in the backyard.
Yeah. And you've got that the Johan Johansson score, which is very just
it's a great score.
It's a great score.
Yeah.
We'll get onto that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it cuts back to one of the faces of the bodies. And it's kind of it's an unmotivated cut. It just goes back to it.
Yes.
And it's kind of zeroing in. And it's very slow. Yeah, those sorts of things like, this is a horror film.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to go back there other than to like ingrain the horror of the situation, you know, which it did,
which it certainly did. There's a comparison that I sort of thought of when I was rewatching it. I thought it was in some way similar to Spec Ops: The Line, which I've spoken to you about before. Do you know about Spec Ops: The Line, Eddie? It's a video game that came out in 2012, I believe. It's basically this third-person shooter, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic Dubai. Okay. It's based on...
So Dubai. Oh, go on.
It's it's actually based on Heart of Darkness, which is the same book that inspired Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
It's set in post-apocalyptic Dubai, a sandstorm has just leveled the city. So a battalion or like a fragment of the US military going to help with the evacuations, and all contact is lost. The game picks up with you as playing as like the leader of like a 3-man Delta squad who go in after hearing a distress call from the leader of the military forces, who is also like your trainer like / father figure in the army. And for the first like hour or two, it seems like very like, you know, it's just kind of like, oh, it's just sort of like a Gears of War style third-person cover shooter. It's a typical military shooter where we go into like this foreign land and we fight the natives. But then like after a while, you start fighting like American soldiers. And it's like, okay, I wonder what's going on there. And then it starts to like throw up this very like uncomfortable imagery. There's like a moment where you're sort of like going around in the sewers or like the remnants of this collapsed building, and you walk out onto a highway and there's just like bodies strung up from lampposts, and then there's like a scene sort of about 2/3 of the way through the game where it really tips its hand and it becomes clear like, oh, okay, this is closer to a survival horror than it is a third-person shooter, because it's just this horrific sequence that just completely starts ripping apart the character. And obviously Apocalypse Now is like a descent into madness type thing.
Yeah.
This is not quite descent into madness.
Not madness, no.
And Sicario tips its hand a lot earlier than Spec Ops does, but the character definitely comes out of the film worse than when she goes in.
Yes, I think... Okay, so Heart of Darkness, obviously, inspired Apocalypse Now, Spec Ops, a lot of thrillers.
Yeah.
Sicario to a certain degree. Yeah, all these films about voyages into moral compromise.
Yes.
And like kind of seeing the evil of man manifest.
Yeah.
And the score of Sicario reflects that. It's a descent into a void.
Yes.
That's what that score is. It's,
yeah.
You actually feel like you're going down. And then of course literally in the film that happens. They do go subterranean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
one of the later action sequences takes place entirely in the dark.
Yeah.
And it's all night vision. Yeah.
All those things are about we have a mission.
Yeah.
And to do that mission we have to compromise our morality.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it a horror film, I call it a dread film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I like about it, or at least one of the things that feeds into that, is Benicio del Toro, who, as we said, he's kind of like cloaked in mystery at the beginning of the film. And then the film sort of starts to set him up. He's not like, because Emily Blunt sort of starts talking to him, and though he's not that reciprocal, he doesn't reciprocate like Emily Blunt's kind of, not enthusiasm, but the way she talks to him. The film is kind of positioning him as like, oh, he's going to become the character that we're going to like empathise with. Because Josh Brolin is very like talkative and charismatic, and he's sort of like, oh, he's friendly, and like he talks to Kate and sort of tells her what's going on, but then he gets very cagey about what their true intentions are. So in a conventional film it'd be like, okay, Josh Brolin turns out to be the villain, and Benicio del Toro kind of defects and helps Emily Blunt save the day and stop Josh Brolin and whatnot. Benicio del Toro is probably the most monstrous character in the film. Like outside of the bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Like on their side, I mean. Because he's not. It turns out he's not even like U.S. government. He's like.
No, he's a complete he's a man for, agent for hire, mercenary to some degree.
Yeah.
But
for the cartels, right?
No, so
he's like fought the cartels on their side.
I think he was a prosecutor.
Okay.
And then they violently murdered his family.
Yes.
And now he basically works for anyone that will get him closer to the people who did it, as Josh Brolin says.
Yes.
He's not. Yeah, he's not a monster. I know what you mean. I mean, arguably.
Well, he's no friend. Definitely.
Depends how you look at it. I mean, that's what the film's about, really. Okay. Like, it's about is moral compromise of this scale necessary? Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I leave it kind of thinking maybe it is. That's the reality of the drug war. That's the reality. Like the drug war. This is getting political now. The drug war is just a folly anyway. Okay. Like the war against drugs. Yeah. But if you actually want to beat cartels, maybe some of this sort of stuff is necessary. I would say you could argue that the most monstrous hero is the guy on their team played by, I can't remember the actor's name. He's in season 2 of Fargo. Dodd, the head of the family in season 2 of Fargo.
I don't remember.
He's kind of like the other one who's in it a lot of it. Like when they torture the guy, he's in the room and then he leaves. Like, fancy
okay.
it, but
All right.
because he, I think, derives pleasure from it. He enjoys it, whereas you don't get that with Del Toro. It's a necessity, but he's like...
No, but also Del Toro doesn't seem to have a...
he doesn't have scruples.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Absolutely doesn't.
He does what's necessary, as he sees it.
Yeah.
Well, I was to say this, like right at the end, he literally holds the gun to Emily Blunt's head.
Yes.
Like, sign this to say it was legal.
Yeah. He completely hijacks the third act, doesn't he?
I love that.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
love that.
You can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, the film is Emily Blunt's film, seemingly.
Yeah, everything. And not just it's her film. Everything is through the prism of her. When there's a massive gunfight in the underground tunnel, you don't see most of it because she doesn't.
No, exactly.
It's all through her eyes.
The sort of like the highlight action scene from Sicario is the traffic jam scene when they're at the border and there are like suspected gunmen in the cars around them, so everyone kind of spills out of the car and starts like scoping out the cars to find the people, and obviously a gunfight ensues. And it sticks mostly with Emily Blunt because she's sort of behind the car.
Yeah.
So everything about this film is telling you this is Emily Blunt's film. She's the main character. We're looking at it from her perspective.
Yeah.
And then she comes out of the tunnel, like because they're taking a tunnel under the border to get into Mexico.
Yeah.
She follows Benicio del Toro, who's split off from the rest of the group suspiciously, so she follows him.
Yeah, I was setting us up for a third act. Oh, Emily Blunt is now going to stop the villainous Del Toro from doing what he's going to do.
Yes.
And American justice.
American justice will be served.
Yeah.
She comes out of the tunnel, sees Del Toro's up to no good, and he shoots her in the chest.
Yeah.
She survives because she's got like bulletproof whatever.
He's like, fuck off, basically.
Yeah, he does it as like a don't follow me.
Yeah.
And then Emily Blunt's kind of out of the film.
Yeah,
She comes back at the end for like the last scene, but I would argue that scene is from Del Toro's perspective more than it is hers.
I don't know at the very end, I would say, because the choice comes with is she going to shoot him or not.
Well, I suck at this film, don't I? Because it feels like a couple of times.
you watched it.
It feels like a couple of times she said, no, it's not the case at all.
I mean, it's opinion, isn't it? I think, it's her film up until then he's like, don't follow me, and then it's just him executing his plan perfectly.
Yes.
Which she is allowed to some degree.
Yeah.
And then, we switch back to her just for so what choice, having experienced all this, where do you stand?
Yes.
And for whatever reason, she chooses not to shoot him. So, is the message of the film that maybe she understands the necessity? Is she scared? It's,
I would argue
weak.
She's weak, yeah.
I would argue the final scene of the film is sort of an admission that it's all for nothing.
Oh, ultimately, yeah, sure.
Because another weird aspect of the script is that we randomly cut back to this police officer in Mexico.
Yeah.
For seemingly no reason. Like, we know, okay, he'll probably become part of proceedings at some point. But there's like 3 or 4 scenes where it's just kind of him with his family and he's sort of like out on his patrol and it's like, okay, what are these all about? And then he becomes, he sort of unwillingly escorts Benicio del Toro to the mansion where Benicio del Toro begins executing his plan. And he just like dies unceremoniously.
Yeah.
He's like out on the road and Del Toro just shoots him and he's out of the film.
Yeah.
And the final scene is his wife and his son, his wife has taken his son to play football. They start playing football, they hear gunfire off in the distance, they look for a moment and then they just sort of carry on.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, oh okay, this is just like
this
is just life for them now and it's not gonna
it
hasn't changed anything.
I think partly that, partly it's ultimately all for nothing because the vacuum will always be filled.
Yeah.
Partly it's here's the real world consequence of here are the people, the in any other story would just be the cop that gets shot at the side of the road.
Yeah.
We're going to see his life, his tedious, boring little life.
Yeah.
Well, there's no flash to it. It's just with his kid.
Yeah.
They're not like a wonderfully happy family. There's like some resentment there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a normal family basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like here's the reality of that world for most people.
Yes.
One of my notes is Roger fucking Deakins.
Yes.
He knows how to light a film, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a good in that. Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
He's a good one. Villeneuve as well, because this is a Denis Villeneuve film.
It is.
Who's sort of like one of the unsung heroes of this decade, I think. He's put out a lot of really good stuff this decade. He's done like Prisoners, which I really like. I haven't seen Enemy, but I hear it's like, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's okay.
Obviously Sicario.
Yeah.
Arrival. Blade Runner 2049. Like, these are some really solid outings.
Year after year as well.
Yeah, and from Prisoners to Blade Runner, yearly releases.
Yeah.
You know? So it's impressive. Yeah.
And now he's doing Dune. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very professional, isn't it? It's a very professional adult movie.
Yes.
No frills. There's no melodrama, no overacting. The characters are all very professional.
Mm.
Josh Brolin's the closest to being unbelievable, I guess, but he's not.
No, he's not.
At
really.
all.
No.
But yeah, they all just do their jobs. You know what I mean? Like I said, it reminds me of Mindhunter a little bit in that sense.
Yes.
There's the scene at the start where they find the House of Corpses and you see them all outside throwing
up.
Yeah.
And that to me, like, because of course
Yeah.
you would throw up.
This is your different kind of thriller.
And you don't see that in other... But, of course you would throw up.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So,
I completely forgot that Daniel Kaluuya was in it.
I completely
I
forgot as well.
was like, oh shit, yeah. Yeah, before everything.
Okay,
you were in this.
There's one thing that bothers me about him, and that's that he
As an actor or the character?
No, as the character. I say as the character.
He bothers me as an actor as well.
I say as a character, he's not really a character in it. He's just sort of...
He is a character.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I couldn't tell you much about him, but that's kind of by design, I think.
Yeah.
He's there to be her partner.
Yeah, but like he's like Josh Brolin specifically says, "Oh, I only want Emily Blunt" at the beginning of the film, and then halfway through, Daniel Kaluuya is just part of the operation all of a sudden.
He's brought in
through her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of says like, "Oh, I want him to be a part of it." I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or he says.
Well, he's got to pick them up from somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
Basically, she uses him as her ride to places.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, he's involved.
Yeah. I don't know. That felt a bit like all of a sudden he's just sort of here now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised.
I know what you mean. I like him in the film. I think he comes across as very just professional again.
Yeah, definitely. Their relationship is pretty good because they're just like they're clearly friends. There's no romance. There's a scene where she's like getting dressed in front of him, and there's clearly like no tension between them or anything like that. And it's not a major part of the film, their relationship, but I thought that was handled pretty well.
Again, very adult. It's like we're not going to do the easy like will they won't they thing.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. They're friends, you know.
He sets her up with someone who's supposed to be a friend.
Yeah.
Turns out not to be a friend.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Good old
John Bernthal being quite a pathetic character ultimately, which is quite good to see.
Yeah.
Doesn't he torture him? But he just puts his finger in his ear.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't. Let's see that is like gets me because that would just the idea of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequel, there is a sequel to this film. I presume there's going to be a third one at some point, I think, as well.
I think that's the idea.
That's the idea.
It's in development.
Yeah. For me, I only bring this up because for me, what makes Sicario so good and what sort of like solidifies it as this thing I really like is just, it's the tone and it's the cinematography.
Okay.
Both of which I feel are absent from the sequel.
They are. I mean, I went into the sequel knowing obviously it wasn't the same director.
Yeah.
Wasn't the same cinematographer.
No.
Wasn't the same composer, I don't think.
No, it wasn't. I think he died by that point.
Right. Okay. So
it was Del Toro and Brolin.
Yeah, and that was basically
and the same scriptwriter. So I was like, right, well, I like the writer. So as long as I expect nothing else the same, it'll be. And I found it okay. Like I quite liked Sicario 2 as a thriller. Yeah, it's nowhere near being Sicario.
Problem is though, at the very end of the film, they use what's it called? Is it called The Beast?
Yeah,
which is a piece that they play during Sicario when they cross the border for the first time. It's an incredibly ominous piece of music. Which, granted, we've like taken power from it because we've memed it a couple of times, like privately.
We have,
or used it in memes, but. They play that at the very end of the film, and for me, that was just a nail in the coffin. It's like you haven't
ended right. Okay. Yeah. Well, Sicario is one of the few films that I've rewatched as a result of being on your guys' lists that my opinion has shot way up.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying my opinion's gone down about a lot of these films,
but
it stayed static, whereas Sicario, it went way up.
Okay.
I think because the first time I watched it, the simplicity of the script was kind of a problem for me. Like, it's not a really writery script.
Yeah.
Not a problem anymore. You know, when I saw it, I like the simplicity of it. My one critique for Sicario is at the very end when Del Toro is at the Jefe's dinner table with his family. The cartel boss says to him, this guy who killed his family basically, Says, just so you know, it wasn't personal. And there's a long silence. Then Del Toro leans in and goes, for me it is. And then he kills this guy's family. And I just think, as zingers go, they could have been a better zinger. Or nothing. I think it would have been more effective if he'd gone, just so you know, it wasn't personal. And it's like, what can you say to something as callous and indifferent as that? Nothing, just shoot his kids, which is what he does, you know. And of course Brock from Breaking Bad is
that poor kid.
is one of the cartel boss's kids. Yeah.
It's good. Go watch it.
Okay. So my number 8 is Her.
Shit.
You haven't rewatched this?
No, I tried.
Okay.
I didn't get around to it.
So Her is set in a recognisable future, and Joaquin Phoenix plays a man named Theodore Twombly, whose job is to kind of write cards on behalf of other people. And he downloads an app, I guess.
This is an OS.
An OS, okay. Called, is it Samantha?
Scarlett Johansson.
It's Samantha.
Yeah, Samantha. Yeah. Well, my top 10 of the decade apparently. Yeah, and
well, you saw how I did with Sicario.
Yeah, that's true.
You should be fine.
They strike up a relationship basically.
Yeah.
And the film is about that relationship.
Yes.
Romantic relationship.
Romantic relationship, yes.
They have the sex.
There is a sex scene. Yeah. Interesting.
Reminded me of...
It's good to know that there's an app for that as well.
Yes, that is nice.
There's an app for that.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, it came later. But yeah, it put me in mind of the Blade Runner 2049 scene, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was inspired a little bit by Her. Because the concept is very similar, even though the execution is quite different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Her. It's a film of its mood, I think.
Yeah.
Principally.
Yeah.
It's a great script.
Yes.
Written by Spike Jonze, who's mainly known as a director. I love the design of the film. All the pinks. I think partly it reminds me of My Bloody Valentine. It reminds me of Loveless.
Okay.
And so that it kind of taps into that.
It does have a very
reservoir with me.
soft, almost like fuzzy, not fuzzy, but you know, the softness things tend to, like, colours sort of like bleed together almost, and they sort of like very soft palettes, and they... Please stop me, I don't know where I'm going with this point.
It's a very fuzzy feeling film.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very nice film in a way.
Yeah.
I'm a big admirer of the score and the soundtrack.
Yeah, who did the score?
It's Arcade Fire.
Arcade Fire, that's right. And Karen O contributed to one of the songs, right? Moon Song. Yeah, it's great music. I think it also kind of reminds me of Lost in Translation. It's got that sort of vibe to it, this kind of melancholy, neon kind of thing.
Also Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Am I right in saying that Scarlett Johansson was recast in this film? Or she was the recast?
She replaced somebody, yeah. Samantha Morton, I think, she replaced.
Yeah.
I want to talk that time we watched it. So I'd seen the film, and then insisted that we watch it as a group.
Yeah.
And there was 5 of us, 4 or 5 of us.
4, I believe, yeah.
And it's the only time I've ever watched a film with a group of male friends. And at the end of it, we were all clearly suppressing crying, tears, and then we all was like, let's just hug it out. And we had a big group to hug out with the experience of that film, because it is a very sad film.
It's the hardest I've tried to not cry while watching a film.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Well, for me, it was just the sort of revelation, the big revelation scene that comes towards the end of the film about the true nature of the relationship for her, the operating system. But yeah, that's why I cried anyway. Just the sort of like when the reality of it sets in, it's like, oh, that's horrible. I hate that. That's horrible.
Yeah, I think partly, Phoenix, especially with Joker now, he has a reputation for, like, obviously being a great actor, but for playing kind of weird guys, you know what I mean? Like The Master or
You Never Really
Hear. But Her, to me, is proof that he can do anything, because he's just a nice, lovely guy in that film.
Yeah.
That you have nothing but, like, positive feelings towards. And so when his heart is broken, it hurts.
Yeah. It does.
Because there's a scene where he goes on what is essentially a picnic.
Yeah.
And it's him and the phone.
Yeah.
And then Chris Pratt and his
there are.
Yeah.
And it's like the loveliest time in the,
Yeah.
and it's like, there's only 3 of them. Like, in the world of this film, it makes complete and utter sense.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, that's 3 people and a fucking phone.
Yeah.
That's the detail I like about the film, if I remember correctly, is that it's not uncommon for people to fall in love with their operating systems.
No.
I like that. It doesn't treat this like this is a 1 in a million chance and it's like, oh, destiny. Like, no, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And so Amy Adams is also in it, and
Yes.
she's going through relationship issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then after her relationship goes south, she ends up talking to an operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you never sort of hear that operating system. You
No.
never see that. Obviously, that's not the story they're telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another
although-
nice detail, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Although I did wonder whether it is the same.
Well,
it's
it would
female.
It is female, is it?
Yeah, it's female.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I did
Right.
wonder whether Scott Anderson is technically both.
I see what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
they just haven't discussed, because obviously Joaquin Phoenix and Amy Adams are discussing the fact that they're
Yeah.
talking to operating systems, but not.
Oh, that's fucked. If they're both quote unquote dating the same operating
You know.
system.
Yeah.
Particularly the reaction he has when he finds out that she is also talking to thousands of others.
Yeah. Yeah, just the amount. Just the amount
Yeah,
of people.
and
the amount of people she's fallen in
yeah,
love with
'cause
as well.
obviously-
So, fuck.
Yeah, because obviously when he finds some of this out, he's out on the street because he'd lost connection, which
Yeah.
a lovely little touch.
Yeah.
Because that is so true of how everyone reacts when they lose connection like now.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't have internet for 2 weeks and it was like the worst thing in the world, and now I've got internet and I'm not sure it's any better.
Yeah.
But, he's out in public, and then obviously he finds that out, and he's just looking around at everyone talking on their phones,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Literally, possibly everyone you've seen is talking to her as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's having a relationship with her as well. And that is hard to, that's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, like, I don't normally go in for these types of films, whiffly waffly. Oh, indies. Yay. Well, lonely people. I have a sympathy for social outcasts and loners. I always will. But these films with this kind of tone, I don't tend to go in for. So it's a testament to the film that I like it as much as I do.
Yes.
Because as I've got on here, it's a film that would listen to the Smiths.
Yeah.
And I love the Smiths, but like Mark Kermode said, I hate characters that like the Smiths.
Yes.
And I'm sort of like that. Yeah, so it is a testament to the power of that film. It reminds me of Synecdoche, New York, which I don't think either of you
No,
have seen,
I haven't seen that.
which is a film about a playwright. It's an entirely different story, but surrounded by women, basically. And that's what her is, essentially. With the exception of Chris Pratt, it's basically Phoenix and a bunch of women. Which leads into my one tiny critique of the film, and that is Joaquin Phoenix is not an unattractive man.
No.
At all.
No.
But Rooney Mara, Olivia Wilde, and Amy Adams?
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Not happening.
No.
Nah, you can fuck right off.
Yeah.
no way. And like Olivia Wilde throws herself at him as well.
Yeah.
She's only in it for... She's got quite a high bill of casting.
Yeah.
And she's in it for, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
She's brilliant in it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing alright for himself. But
He's not done too badly, yeah.
It's like it's like in, what's it called? Sorry to Bother You. Is that the...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the film I'm trying to think of.
With
In
Keith Stanfield.
Yeah, where he's dating Tessa Thompson, and he's like complaining about, oh, things are shit, everything's shit, my life is shit. I'm like, you're banging Tessa Thompson. Come on now.
I mean, but like if you think about it, like, yeah, as you say, Rooney Mara, Amy Adams, Olivia Wilde. He forgot an operating system that was voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
I did Still Johansson, yeah.
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 Fuck no.
Yes, stretch his credibility.
Fuck him. Yeah, he's doing alright for himself.
So there's the sex scene, obviously, between him and Samantha.
There's the other sex scene.
Yeah. So the Samantha sex scene, it's very well executed.
Yes.
And I just want fair play to those two for committing to that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't pay me enough money, period, to to agree to do something like that.
No
way.
No,
so
no.
good for them.
Yeah.
The other sex scene, which has Portia Doubleday, her of Mr. Robot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not far-fetched. That's the note I made about that scene. It doesn't feel like a far-fetched idea.
No.
20 years ago, Tinder was sci-fi.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I see that perfectly being a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deeply uncomfortable. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it could happen. I like that it's kind of about it's about the artificiality of that kind of romance, but with never saying that the feelings are artificial. The feelings are very, very real. Otherwise, you wouldn't care about their relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's clearly very kind of sad relationship, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, you pity it whilst rooting for it. It's a weird kind of...
Yeah, because the film, other characters react the way you would imagine people would react when you say you're dating your operating system.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, to go back again to the scene where you find out like how many people she's in love with. That feels like a genuine betrayal. That feels like a genuine like breakup.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because when he starts telling people that he's dating an operating system, the response is, "Oh, cool." Like,
Yeah,
he
it's
tells
sort
Chris
of
Pratt,
like,
and Chris
oh,
Pratt's
okay.
like, "Yeah, nice. We
Yeah.
should get together."
Yeah. I love the poster. That's obviously not part of the film, but I love the poster.
It's
Yeah.
just him.
Just
right?
his face.
Yeah.
Red on pink, and
Yeah.
just his face.
Yeah.
I didn't know the cinematographer was Hoyt van Hoytema.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was DP for her.
Yeah.
It's actually funny as well, like unexpectedly funny.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
the video game.
Yeah, that's like the
Bit.
one thing that I remember, that I've always kind of remembered of the film is that little video game character who's
Yeah.
just swearing at
Yeah,
him
yeah.
constantly.
Come on, asshole! Or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, she's getting bullied by a 5-year-old online.
Right, is it supposed to be the character or is it someone like speaking through the
I
avatar?
don't know.
Okay.
But it does feel like he's getting bullied like a 5-year-old.
Okay, alright.
And my final note on her is I wonder if Johansson was actually on set. Because I don't know that.
That'd be interesting,
I
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
think
To figure out.
No. Well, even more fair play to...
I was going to say that's
Phoenix
a
then,
bloody
yeah.
good performance if
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not bouncing off anyone because
Yeah.
they feel like genuine conversations
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are being had as well.
It's one of the best voice performances ever. I will
Yes.
add that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in film. I wonder what the original performance would have been like. Whether it was bad or whether they just stumbled across Johansson and were like, "Oh, this is much better."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will say, of the films on either list,
Yeah.
her is the only film that came closest.
Okay.
That nearly took out. I nearly took out Birdman for that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting. So you like her then?
I've got a lot of It's of the films from your list
Mm-hmm.
that I've rewatched. It's the one I've rewatched the most.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that was all our number 8s. On to number 7.
Mm-hmm.
For me, number 7 is Inside Out.
Okay.
A Disney movie about emotions in your head.
Well, for you, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In your head, yeah.
in your head. I don't really know how else to sum it up. It's got sadness. It's got
It ticks all the boxes.
it's got sadness, happiness, anger, fear, and disgust.
Yeah.
Which I could sums up what my head usually has going on.
Uh-huh. You have joy.
Yeah,
Loser.
not very often. But yeah, no.
What's it about?
Yeah, what's the
tell
plot?
us what it's
It
about.
is
Plot us.
about so it revolves around those 5 emotions in the head of a young girl called Riley,
Mhm.
who basically her emotions get fucked up because they move house and then 2 of them end up out of the main console, as it were. Joy and sadness trying to get back to head office, as it were,
Yeah.
on their own little journey.
Yeah.
Shut
I
up.
like that. No, because that's not a joke the film makes, from what I remember.
No, I don't think it makes that
So,
joke.
so well done, Eddie. Well done.
To be fair,
Yeah, on
To
your
be-
audio as well.
To be fair, we inferred the joke.
What do you mean?
He just said head office, and we went, eh?
Oh yeah.
It's not like he went head office, huh? Huh?
No, I know, but
Yeah.
you know.
So why are we congratulating him? We should be congratulating ourselves.
Okay, well done, Sam.
Well done, George.
There we go.
Carry on.
Applaud us, Eddie.
No. But yeah, so they're on their own sort of little journey, which leaves Riley being piloted by anger, disgust, and fear.
Yeah.
And you know, she's in a sort of brand new place, doesn't really know what's going on, and obviously those three emotions are not making the best choices.
I know it's a Pixar film, and I suppose, like, when you're watching it, I'm not really thinking of plot holes, per se. But when you do start thinking about that universe,
Yeah.
it kind of, okay, so when joy and sadness are out of head office, does that mean she's incapable of experiencing joy and sadness?
Yes.
So she can only experience anger, fear, and disgust. Like, I get...
As the film goes, yes.
Yeah, I get that. But I don't know what it's kind of a metaphor for. Is it emblematic of wider experience, or is it like only in Riley's head has this ever happened where joy and sadness aren't present? Because I sort of get what it's doing, because there's a moment where like sadness starts touching all the joy orbs and like tainting it with her blue, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I get the idea of like, okay, I see what it's doing. It's like how happy memories become sad. Yeah, I understand that. And obviously the big resolution of the film is they work together to produce bittersweet kind of...
Yes,
Yeah.
because there are memories that were once happy which are going to be sad. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
You know.
So I get that, but I suppose I don't really know what it means for those two, on a metaphorical level, to leave the office. Like, does that happen to all of us? That they leave the office? Or they're just not at the controls?
See, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because obviously when you see how the mother's head is piloted
Yes.
by sadness,
Yeah.
and then the father's head is piloted by anger.
Yeah.
So-
Gender norms.
Yeah.
Hashtag 2020. Year for vision.
Yeah, for vision.
Go on.
There would be a joke made on a podcast with three men with glasses.
Year for vision. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like the film was trying to suggest that this particular incident has happened only for her.
Right.
But if you were looking at it from the grand scheme of things and the broader picture, realistically, there are all going to be times where we, don't have joy
Of course, yeah.
at the forefront and we don't have sadness.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of physically represented by, fear will kick joy away from the controls. Like, oh, let me pilot the ship. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, they're all there, but sometimes other, certain ones are driving it. But it's the whole idea of they leave the office. Because she would be a psychologist's wet dream of, like, this girl is incapable of experiencing joy or sadness. Like, they're not actually in her brain.
Yeah. Well, it gets to the point where they don't know how to handle it, so she ends up with the idea that she's going to run away.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's trying to say it happens for everyone like that, or whether it's just for her. Purely
it's tricky, isn't it? Because she goes through... The emotions are travelling through her head.
Yeah.
So, which is obviously... it's sort of like represented as this physical space. So, like, her train of thought is a literal train. It has, like, opinions and memories and stuff loaded onto it. They go to, like, the dream center, which is like a film studio and stuff like that. But the emotions, they sort of like go through experiences that I think most people go through. Obviously one of the main supporting characters is Riley's old imaginary friend.
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
Big up.
Who's the what? Who likes to play? Who's the...
I mean, yeah, it's who likes to play Bing Bong, Bing Bong.
Who's the girl, is it?
What are you talking about?
Who's the girl who likes to play Bing Bong?
Oh, right, okay.
His song.
I don't know.
Okay.
Something like that. It's a kick-ass imaginary friend.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
it's the best thing about the film.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But obviously,
Played by
Richard Kind.
Richard Kind.
Riley's getting old, so Bing Bong's got to go bye-bye.
The one thing I got to say, so Bing Bong's got like a trunk, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now, Richard Kind is a very famous, has a very famous
Are
Jewish
you going
voice.
to imply
Is
that
it anti-Semitic that they gave him a massive nose?
I don't think it is.
Just saying.
I think there was
I
just
see
like,
the guy you
I
hire when
don't-
you want to do like a nervous Jewish man.
That's a
They
really
might have
good
lo-
impression.
yeah, they might have looked at the elephant and gone, "Oh, okay."
Take it to the moon for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
I
pretty
get
cool.
you. Yeah.
No, but the point I was going to make is they go through experiences that kids go through, like losing, like, you know, the imaginary friend, sort of like
Yeah.
leaving your mind and things like that. But yeah, it does feel like a very atypical thing to happen, doesn't it? That these emotions are just sort of absent for whatever reason. But also, it is a Pixar film, and it's like it's structured like a Pixar film.
Yeah.
It's like Toy Story and all those like road trip movies they've done.
Yeah, I don't
So-
want to kind of like undermine it by deconstructing it, but it's
No.
when you do start asking those questions of like, because there are points obviously where they're all united and Riley's happy, yay, we succeeded.
Yeah.
Can fear be happy, or must it always be scared? Surely it must always be scared.
I mean,
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like, yeah.
you got to be careful, don't you? Because if it reaches the point where like you have to give the emotions.
Well, they do. Yeah, joy is sad. You know?
Yeah, joy gets sad and fear gets
Yeah.
happy, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
If we can't go too far into this mythology.
No.
Who plays,
Even adults are going to struggle at this point.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah, who plays Anger?
Oh, what's his name?
Lewis Black.
Lewis Black.
Yeah,
I like him.
yeah. He was born to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
very well cast. The film is very well cast.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was broccoli on pizza,
Oh, broccoli. Yes, you're right.
which is a travesty.
It's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. Is that a fiction? Is that an affectation, or can you get broccoli on pizza?
Oh, I think
In
San
San
Francisco.
Francisco,
was-
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. Where all the queers live.
Exactly.
San Francisco life.
2020 year for vision.
Is that just going to be your
My get out now.
you get out?
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to say really like horrible, derogatory shit. It's like
Yeah.
hashtag 2020 year of vision.
Yes.
I mean, when Inside Out came out, it was sort of seen as a return to form for Pixar, wasn't it?
Yes.
They've done a couple of duds. Cars 2 was not received very well. Brave was kind of like, yeah, all right,
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Monsters University.
Monsters University, which, yeah.
The thing with Monsters University, though, is, in my opinion, it's fine, but there wasn't. That's it.
Yeah, Pixar, you're expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You know,
Even
when,
at that
they
point,
set themselves
when
up to fail,
Monsters
really.
Inc. came out, like that was like up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then-
yeah.
So yeah, when you sat there going, oh, it's fine.
Well, I mean, there's a time there. So Pixar, obviously, they make Toy Story. Then they make A Bug's Life, which obviously is nowhere near as good as Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
But like, oh, it's their sophomore effort. Then they make Toy Story 2, which in many ways is better than Toy Story.
Yeah.
And then since then, you got to think they had Monsters Inc. Then they had Finding Nemo. Then they had The Incredibles. Like,
They were on a roll.
yeah,
hell,
you can't
yeah.
sustain that because they're not just three great films; they're three of the greatest films of that decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
The-
And then unfortunately
the new
we
benchmark
got
of animation.
Yeah.
yeah, and unfortunately then we got Incredibles 2, Finding Dory.
Well,
and
we got a
Monsters
bunch of films
University.
in between that. You know, we also got like Wall-E, which was Up Wall-E.
Yeah.
Those two.
Ratatouille.
Oh yeah, Ratatouille
That's
was
pretty good.
Was all right.
It's not a kids' film.
No,
I have a
it's
lot of
good.
love for Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I was very fond of Cars when I first saw it. I imagine this time might not have been as kind to that as other Pixar films, but
It's alright.
I liked Cars when I saw it.
Yeah, it's the Bug's Life sort of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Inside Out. So yeah, rewatched it. It is great, and again, you as long as you don't think about it too much, you can. And there are some like I feel like it was a film that was like, oh, a train of thought could actually be a train.
Yeah.
It's sort of come from those sorts of conversations. There's one bit that makes no sense to me. I get like a rash every time I see it, and that is when they're like creating the dream as like a a movie set,
yeah,
and obviously the cliche is the teeth falling out dream
Yeah.
in the middle of like a class, and like the camera is Riley's POV,
Yeah.
yeah,
and then like a prop hand basically gets like a jar of teeth and starts dropping it in front of the camera.
yeah.
It's like, oh, teeth are falling out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
your teeth aren't on your head.
Yeah, they're not going to fall.
They're not going to fall in front of your eyes.
No,
so that
no.
bothers me every time I see it.
That's I hadn't thought of that.
And I think you'd be written off as, oh, it's a dream. No. I know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, not acceptable.
Yeah, that's an example of it trying to be too clever, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a camera, and but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is a problem. But I like they have fun with the idea of physicalizing the inside of someone's head. You know?
Yeah.
Abstract space and all
Abstract
that sort of
space.
stuff.
I
That's
love
great.
stuff like that
Yeah.
anyway, like
Yeah.
train of thought and
Yeah, it is if I'm feeling crappy, it is the film I'll probably put on.
Okay.
Is it? Where does it stand? Presumably, it's your favorite Pixar film of this decade, at least. Where does it stand in the pantheon of Pixar for you?
Toy Story 2 then
Mhm.
is probably the top.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Then The Incredibles.
Yeah,
I had a lot of love for that when that came
Mhm.
out.
that's a film that's improved over time for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a film because I had the game of that and everything.
Oh right. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have that.
you poor souls.
Well, we were 9 or 10.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but yeah, imagine
I
if
felt-
it now.
it was such a thing when I was at school. That we used to take it in turns. Those of us who owned it would take it in turns to bring it into the after school club we all went to,
Oh right.
and we would all play it because we had like one save card at the after school club, so we'd all take it in turns to bring our own discs, and we weren't always bringing in one person's to scratch out the disc
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So we were equally wearing down our own game.
Of course, it's the best Fantastic Four movie made, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Incredibles. Yeah, that's my favourite. Incredibles.
Monsters Inc. for me, but Incredibles is a close second. Definitely.
Yeah.
And then Toy Story, which I rewatched recently, and it's just the script for Toy Story is amazing. And it's the one we talked about this. It's one of the only moments in cinema that will bring me to tears every time, and that is when the music soars when they start flying.
Yeah.
At the end. Oh, so good, so good. But as Randy Newman's scores are funny though. They are good, but like where he just literalizes what's happening on screen.
Oh yeah.
I get it's a kid's film, but like it's when Buzz thinks he's gonna get out of Sid's house, and he starts climbing, and the music soars and he swells, and he's like, "I can do it. I believe I can fly. I can fly." And then he falls, and then the music goes, "Now I've fallen down." Basically, it's essentially that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna fly no more. So bad. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's good shit.
It's great. But Toy
Yeah.
Story 2,
Yeah.
amazing. Finding Nemo's amazing. They got some good stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I remember liking this film more. It's kind of the opposite effect of The Incredibles, where it's gone down a little bit over time.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as I first saw it. It's still like one of the. There's a moment towards the end of the film which remains like the hardest I've laughed in a cinema, or like one of the hard times I've laughed the
Yeah, I
hardest in the
remember.
cinema.
Yeah.
And that is there's a character in the film who turns out to be called Jordan, which of course is my name. And he sees Riley in the crowd, and it like zooms inside his head, and there's just a siren going off, going "girl, girl," and the emotions are just
Yeah.
panicking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It means more to me because obviously that's my name as well, and I just related to it, and yeah. I think you said I was laughing so hard that like people were looking at us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What's he gonna shut up?
Yeah, I like that. The cats I always relate to. Not relate to it, but like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Which is there's no one at the console. They're all
Yeah.
just slinking around. and
Yeah,
different-
they're just off somewhere.
The design could be a bit better.
Yes.
Like the landscape is very barren. Like, for a Pixar, you're expecting a little bit more detail.
Yeah. Do you think that was intentional?
I would have thought so. I mean, like, this is 2015. This isn't early Pixar. This
No.
is
Yeah.
they can do
Yeah.
Yes.
stunning detail. You
Yeah.
know?
I would say, well, because there's a scene where they move into the new house,
Yeah.
and so they have to imagine what the room could look like.
Yeah.
And just that sequence as they fill the room up with different things.
Mm-hmm.
I quite enjoy just watching that and it sounds really bad, but they organise the room,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
that's
it gives me a hard
it's,
on.
yeah.
It's awkward at the kids' film in the cinema.
It's just it's just really satisfying, and I know that sounds really, but it's so.
No,
just
it's
really
not the girl. It's the furniture. That's what I like.
like. Yeah, there is just something really satisfying about that
Yes.
particular scene for me.
There's a terrifying moment in the film,
Mm.
and that was when they have Jangles the clown. Now, not when he wakes up. That's because that's fine. It's when he mumbles something. They're on top of him, and he goes like, and I don't like that. A sleeping clown.
What's that clown up to?
Yeah.
What's he thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you dream if you're in someone's head?
Oh, let's not do that. Like a lot of
Well,
that.
okay, you're getting onto Inception level.
Yeah. No, I think like that's exactly I think it reaches a certain point where you have to like suspend your disbelief. And I don't want to use that as an excuse for the film. But yeah, when you
But
reach the
also,
point where,
it's
do their like nightmares dream. That's the point where you're like, this doesn't really belong in a kids' film. This level of abstraction, you know. Then again, there is that like sequence where they get abstracted.
Yeah.
That's a
they
bit,
become abstract thought.
yeah,
They become two-dimensional, don't
which
they?
is fun.
Yeah.
But then again, that's a good example of it appealing to all audiences because
Because joy became abstract thought.
man. But yeah, exactly. The kids will enjoy the animation because they go like 2D and then they break down into shape and color. Whereas adults will listen to the dialogue where it's like we're becoming like corporeal fragmentation or whatever the fuck, and you're just like, oh, that's funny.
I like that. It's like, three emotions and they're becoming abstract thought. Joy, sadness, and bing bong. What? Speech is becoming abstract as well. Yeah, that's all I think I've got to say about Inside Out.
Yeah. Jord.
Go watch Inside Out, I guess.
All these are recommendations.
Yes, I know. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No. All, I think, from all of us, all are, as well, each other's lists.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that where I was like, I wouldn't watch this again.
No.
Or like, I wouldn't recommend this to somebody else.
I mean, you took off Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, so...
Yeah, you did.
Yes, but I was instructed to because you said you hated it and you said you were bored.
It's
We didn't tell you not to take it off your list. I have
was
fucking
bored.
loads to say about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
And I was bored.
You were bored.
Yes.
Stop being bored. It's a good film.
No, it's not.
I agree with you because you said, Sam,
Yeah.
one of your notes was really best of the decade.
Yeah.
That's why it's not on the list. But I still recommend Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I
Yeah,
still
yeah,
think it's
broadly,
a good film.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not my number 7 because my number 7 is Nightcrawler. Now,
That is
one
on
of
my
you-
list.
it's on your
Oh,
list and it's a
okay.
little further on, right?
It is.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're not going to talk about
We're
Nightcrawler
not
for the
gonna
moment.
talk about
No.
Nightcrawler. My number 7 is Parasite.
Okay.
We can't talk about
We
that
can't
either
talk
yet,
about that either yet.
so we'll
Although I do
table
want
it.
to say something briefly. You and whichever one of us has it on our list, we're a bit dubious about including it because it's 2019. film.
Yeah.
Which is obviously it's eligible because it's best of the decade, but because it's so recent,
Yeah.
there was that fear that like, oh, is the honeymoon period just not over yet?
Mm-hmm.
But
No,
upon,
it's a cracking film.
upon multiple rewatches, I think it's safe to say that this might be one to stay. I think. I don't think.
Oh
that-
yeah. The question for me is, will it stay that low?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I see Parasite very likely entering my favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about that a bit more in depth later.
Look forward to when that shows up.
Yes,
I guess.
in the next episode.
Okay. Well, you've just spoilt it now.
Why?
I don't know. Eddie.
They're going to
We're
see
back to
that
you
we're
now.
not doing all 10.